Welcome back to the Convo Couch, everyone. Pasta Jardula here.
And I'm Fiorella.
And Johnny Sue is still spinning on those ones and twos. Fam, guess who came walking in the door first, right out of the gate? Trey Wright. I love you, you SOB. You're the best. Hang in there, my friend. Also, a shout out to my good friend Keen James. I love you too. Hang in there, guys. I know things are tough, but you'll get through it. Don't worry about it. It's a crazy time right now, fam.
It is.
It's amazing that we only had 3 topics that we're going to talk about today. I just want to tell everybody from the get-go. First 2 topics are going to be on YouTube and Rokfin. Third topic, Rokfin only. Because
we should be able to talk about it. Because it's all over the mainstream media.
Yeah.
But because we're going to talk about it from the perspective of this is bad. You can't risk it. So that's why we're going to do Rokfin only for the last topic, which is going to be talking about New York City's vaccine mandate, right? It's New York City in particular, but New York then by default is the first state issuing this vaccine mandate if you want to do anything remotely fun with your life. So yeah, we'll be talking about that. We also have Franco coming on at 2:00. And yeah, there's been a lot happening. We've been busy taking care of things, and we didn't get a chance to do a show. Jonny was out of town, but we've been trying to really, we're going to try to catch up because all the stuff that's happened is insane to me.
So much shit.
But it's a shit that we said would happen. Like all of these things we said would happen. You know, Nina Turner losing to an establishment Democrat. That's not surprising. We've talked about the elections. We'll go into that because we look at it from an election integrity perspective that nobody's talking about. Literally, they're completely ignoring that. Dark money this, dark money that, etc. But first, of course, we're going to start with the biggest what's on everybody's mind right now, and we haven't given our take yet on what happened. But I really want to thank Max Blumenthal and Frank Analysis for being out there because they were a couple of other activists too. Colin was out there, but they were out there asking the right questions. They were out there doing what all these people on Twitter say they want to do, push people left, hold their feet to the fire. Well, when these people do that, they get smeared and they get called divisive or they get called mean or nasty by so many people that shouldn't be calling them that. I mean, people that should be on our side, right? Yep. And it's gross, fam.
Yeah, well, Trey Wright says, I love you all. We love you too. Let's just jump right into it. Right. Ryan, you said another $6 million wasted on a progressive candidate. That was never going to happen. It wasn't going to change shit. We'll get to that. But Fam is right. We got to get into this topic right here because this is like, I was looking into what was going on in Tunisia. And I had to stop immediately what I was doing and pay attention to what was going on. The theatrics.
Right.
Because it's such an important issue. And we've been talking this for how long? How much does housing matter at this moment in time when we're coming to the end of this situation, supposedly, and when things run out, it's going to be a massive amount of tsunami, no pun intended, of people ending up on the streets, fam. So please, let's dive on into this.
Right. And you guys saw our coverage of what was going on with the unhoused and how the ordinance they passed, and they passed it. The mayor signed it. This is why this issue really got me really upset, because there's a difference between actually being somebody that's fighting with the people and using an entire PR stunt to put on the theatrics of fighting for the people when it's led by politicians. That doesn't happen. That's not how movements build. They don't come from the top down. And so AOC, it all started with AOC saying, we've known for a month that the eviction moratorium would end Sunday. They knew for a month. She's saying it right there. She admitted that they knew for a month. Okay. Yeah. And they did know it longer than that. And then she said, Congress adjourned for 7 weeks. And this was on July 30th without doing anything about it, and imperiling the homes and lives of 11 million people behind on rent. How can we go home when so many are about to lose theirs? Okay. And that's basically she said in her what she said in her video. And her and Cori Bush, of course, decided to specifically Cori Bush. Go ahead. Yeah.
Everybody knew this was coming. Yes. We were sounding the alarm about this issue. The court order was not yesterday. The court order was not Monday. The court order was about a month ago. We had financial services hearings about it. Members were bringing alarm to the administration about it. There have been public statements about it, asking for all of us, White House and Congress, to move on this sooner. The fact that this statement came out just yesterday is unacceptable. It is unacceptable. I want to make that very clear, because the excuses that we've been hearing about it, I do not accept them. But secondly, what we have here, and we have members within our own caucus threatening to go on vacation and imperiling the lives of millions of people is unacceptable. Is unacceptable. And so we need to make sure that we get this passed. We cannot leave town until we protect people's ability to stay in their homes. And we need to push on governors who have not been getting the emergency rental assistance out in time. There are some constituents and places, there are some constituencies and municipalities that have been getting it out more effectively, others less effectively, but the fact of the matter is, states across the board, red and blue, have not been getting this money out. We have authorized a total of $46 billion in emergency rental assistance, and only $3 billion has gone out so far. No matter whose fault it is, the fact of the matter is that what was promised to people has not been given. And as long as those funds remain tied up in whatever elected officials of whatever party's hands, we cannot kick people out of there. There cannot be an eviction. There cannot be mass evictions right now.
Oh, geez, fam.
Okay,
Oh, my
so
Lord.
they knew for months. Why didn't they do an action months ago?
Yep.
Why did they wait until, like now they want to go on vacation? Cori Bush's next tweet. Oh, good morning. The eviction moratorium expires tonight at midnight. So that's when they went. They went there at midnight saying, hey, it expires tonight. What can you actually accomplish hours before the eviction moratorium expires?
Yeah.
And why did they do that? Why would they do that? Well, because, they have to play good cop, bad cop. Joe Biden's bad cop now. We're the good cops. We're going to show the media and the people, select people that we're going to fight for this. By the way, look at this picture.
Yeah.
No cops, a bunch of politicians, very few people, and you'll see in the other pictures we'll show, very few people because they didn't advertise it. They didn't really push it at all. It was just like, okay, we're going to do this. Now everybody come. And it was led by the Working Families Party. The Working Families Party are the ones that sided against AOC when she went on to win against Joe Crowley. But they were actually siding with Joe Crowley, the Working Families Party.
Were extending their ballot access to Joe Crowley even after he lost in the primary. That was, the Workers' Party.
Exactly. And, that's who they are. I mean, you're siding with these democratic organizations that have shown time and time again, right?
Yeah.
And so then the next tweet I have of Cori Bush is the same thing. She's talking about the eviction moratorium. The House must reconvene and extend the moratorium for the POTUS, and CDC government could extend it tonight. We need all hands on deck. And if we recall what the CDC said the president can do it. Biden said the CDC can do it. Yeah. They were just nope, either of them can do it.
The Spider-Man meme. Remember what's the Spider-Man meme when they're pointing at each other? All the Spider-Man. And fam, I just got one quick question as you're going through this. Had they spent 1/5 the energy that they did on January 6th, maybe a lot of people would have known about this and stuff like that.
Right.
They weren't talking about this until it was these theatrics, this theater that they just pulled off at the last second.
Yeah, they literally weren't talking about it at all, actually. Yeah. And that's the thing for me that just shows wait a minute, this seems like some sort of move because people are obviously upset that this is happening. So they heard that and they're like, okay, we got to do damage control. We got to give them something, right? Because if you think about it, if people are really pissed off right now, people are losing so much and they're going to lose even more. They haven't gotten the help they need. And so what's happening is people are getting ready to march in the streets. Direct actions from March for Medicare for All. Isn't it interesting? You're going to notice AOC's language. She talks about direct action, how we need to take to the streets. Interestingly enough, she didn't pay a single attention to force the vote, hasn't paid a single attention to the activism going on Assange. Of course, she's not going to, but there's been a lot of activism on the streets for censorship, Assange, and all of that. But she definitely didn't pay any attention to March for Medicare for All, didn't say a blip about it, and yet she's talking about direct action. It's just very interesting to me. So let's hear what she says, because here says she's just virtue signaling. This
Kevin Frey one. That one right there. Oh, the top one?
The top one, yeah. Johnny.
As of midnight tonight, the CDC, the National Eviction Moratorium, is set to expire. Now, yesterday, instead of the House convening and taking a vote to extend it, they moved to adjourn on a 7-week recess. And It's just simply unacceptable. We cannot be abandoning the up to 11 million Americans that are in need, particularly when emergency rental assistance, the $46 billion that we authorized to pay people's back rent, has not gotten out. Governors and municipalities have not released the emergency rental assistance funds, and so we are demanding to extend the moratorium until the funds come, because this is simply not folks' fault that those resources have not gone out. And so the least we can do is extend those resources, ask the House to reconvene, and take a vote on extending the moratorium. As of midnight tonight.
Okay. So then she talks about New York and Cuomo, and then she talks about the who's to blame. There's enough blame to go around. Yeah. She focuses on the fact that let's not. There's so many people to blame. She even says this is not all about Republicans. So she's making some valid points there. It's not all about Republicans and all of that. But why is she doing that?
Well, she's missing one person, isn't she? The House can only adjourn if who adjourns the House?
Nancy Pelosi.
Oh,
Speaker
so
of the House.
The Speaker.
Yeah.
She didn't mention the Speaker, fam. See how she's dancing around that?
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's an important point to make, because if she's not mentioning Nancy Pelosi, and she never challenges Nancy Pelosi. Nope. Not since the first time she did in the very beginning.
Yes.
After that, she's been extremely like, oh, we have to keep a good relationship with Nancy because we can't get anything done without her. But simultaneously, if you never challenge her, how are you going to get anything done?
Remember, the squad was supposed to be the parallel kind of group of the Tea Party, of the Freedom Caucus. They went and made the Speaker quit at the time. They made John Boehner quit. He cried because this group of Republicans, these Tea Party Republicans, the Freedom Caucus, was like, no, they always put him on display. That has never happened with the squad. In fact, they haven't challenged their establishment cohorts. They've embraced them, including what we saw this weekend here with Schumer coming out and Adam Schiff for brains. I know we'll get to that. But yeah, they have embraced these people and never called them out. And that's the disgusting thing to me. That's what shows me they're a bunch of phonies. Yeah,
and also, again, look, I said this is staged and this is August 1st. She says the same thing. We're out here to extend the moratorium. And by the way, extending the moratorium is the bare minimum. I mean, we're not, you're just kicking the can down the road. You're not talking about rent forgiveness, which should be a no-brainer. You're not, I mean, people got one $1,200 payment under Trump and one $1,600 payment, not even actually under Biden. I think the other part was also part of the Trump too. Remember, they took back it was supposed to be $2,000 and that whole thing. So people in like almost 2 years, people have gotten that minus some unemployment, which again, unemployment isn't that much money. And then my point in that was like the reason we don't have a revolution in this country is because you have people like AOC and the squad who mask themselves as being revolutionaries for revolutionary change, but at the same time they don't actually challenge the system. They pretend to challenge the system. That's all it is. It's like they're putting on this whole performance of challenging the system, but without really challenging it. And one of these people that's begun to do that, and I don't know if you can find it, I forgot to bring it up, Johnny, but there was that clip with Crystal Ball and Bernie, interviewing Bernie, and it was ridiculous because Bernie was defending Biden. She was being so, like, she was barely giving him anything that, challenging. I would have asked him about so many things, but even on those things that she did ask, he couldn't answer her. He was getting agitated with her because she kept pressing about, oh, Biden can do this. Oh, Biden can do this. And he can by executive order. And Bernie Sanders is defending him. And yet here he is with more of this virtue signal saying it's outrageous that in the middle of a deadly pandemic, the eviction moratorium has ended. I'm proud to stand with Rep. Corey, AOC, and so many demanding the government respond to the needs of working people and extend it. We can not allow people to be thrown into the streets. Again, I haven't seen any emphasis on this from any of them this whole time at all. I haven't seen it, even from Bernie. Not on this. Like, I've seen them talk more about Republicans and how Republicans are doing this and January 6th and the Voting Rights Act and COVID and vaccines than I have seen them talk about housing, which is one of the things that I think irritates the hell out of people.
Fam, I think you're wrong. Joe Biden is my friend. And if he could do something, fam, he would do it. And I think you're going a little bit too hard on AOC and Cori Bush. The main thing is that we got ourselves out there when the time mattered, and we saw ourselves in I'm saying enormous victory. And I think we should take that into consideration before you go after my good friend Joe Biden.
Fam.
And please take the vaccine. Thank you.
No. And Max Blumenthal went out there. And
did he ever?
Yeah, and he asked some really great questions. He started out by just, filming what was going on and just filming Rep. Cori Bush calling out when the eviction moratorium was expiring at midnight. Let's go, Johnny, to the second video where he asks her about the rally. He says, I asked Rep. Cori Bush about the rally she helped organize, why it happened so late in the game, which is everybody's question. And she said she's been pushing for months for the White House to extend the moratorium. Who knows if that very well could be true, but why aren't her congressional members doing that? Let's hear what she said.
No, I'm just saying we didn't get it on the news tonight. Okay.
Don't leave. Okay, so yeah, why are you out here? What's the call you're making?
Yeah, we're out here because in just a few hours, the eviction moratorium could possibly end if it's not extended. If the White House and the CDC didn't extend it, if nothing happens in the U.S. Senate right now, it won't be extended. And so anywhere from 7 million to 11 million people could be forced out of their homes starting possibly tonight. So we are out here rallying to say, we're out here to show our protest saying this is not okay. Because of that, we're asking people to show up. We want you to show up tonight. We show up before midnight, because at midnight we will start a rally. Regardless of which way this goes, if the extension happens, we'll rally. Because we'll be happy and we'll be ready to do the next step in this work. Or it will be to continue to put pressure. We need to push the pressure.
Why do you think that? I mean, first of all, a lot of my followers are wondering why it took so long to get this momentum or the mobilization happening. Why is this happening so last second?
Well, this has nothing to do necessarily with the House.
Yeah.
Or any type of leadership or anything, any House leadership or anything. This was AOC and I were upset yesterday because the House adjourned and everybody went to recess. People went on vacation without getting this taken care of. And so we didn't know what else to do. So I said, look, let's camp out. Let's spend the night out here on the steps. I'm an activist and organizer. That's who I was before I came to Congress. And so I pulled the tools out of my toolbox. So that's what this is. This has nothing to do with the House itself. So we have been working for months, sending letters to the CDC, asking them to go ahead to get this extension done for months. Yeah. Not just my office, but other offices too.
Okay. So, I don't know. I mean, it has to do with it, though, because she's a legislator.
Yeah.
So
she has more power than we do. She has literally more power to change rules and laws in the government than we do. We have millions of followers too. And
millions, especially AOC.
She needs to call out Pelosi because she was like, oh yeah, the House was adjourned. Like who made that decision to adjourn? Who made the decision to adjourn the House?
And Bernie has a lot of power in the Senate as well. Why aren't you pressuring them? Why wait till less than 24 hours? 12 hours. It was ridiculous. And they're also contradicting themselves. They're saying we've known for months. So you've known for months that they had no intention of extending this moratorium, and you didn't do anything about it. Look at what, and I have to point out to her, because look at what Shama Sawant does when she wants something. She goes out, she literally does direct actions and gets a lot of people to go and involve themselves in that until she gets the result she wants. That's different because it's also led by a lot of working people who have this vested interest and they do these things. And of course she's a city councilwoman, but that to me makes it even worse, because as a congressperson, you have more power than somebody at city council. You could, if they would have put out a call out and said, we're going to fight for this, to extend the moratorium, to cancel rent, blah, blah, blah. We all would have gone there. We would have been like, okay, we're going to go there. We're going to plan this. We're going to all be there. We're going to sit in. We're going to do this. That's not what happened. Yeah. Why was it done this way?
Dude, Shama's gotten more numbers than they did.
We got more numbers for fucking like March for Medicare for All than this.
Because they wanted a controlled environment. We know what this is about. This is the theatrics and stuff like that. And my two questions are, number one, why didn't you have a cancel the rent bill a month ago? Like, Cory Bush just drafted legislation to cancel the rent with the moratorium ending in a month. Knowing that people, because, you know, as we go further into the segment, we'll get into what Franco did, you know what I'm saying? It's just kicking the can down the road. It's not a solution. So why isn't, as an activist and, you know, what she was, present a real solution, bring it to the table, cancel the rent, have a mass rally out there? Because, and also, where are the Republicans on this? Are there any Republicans that are going to fight for people who are going to be thrown out of their houses? Republicans, you're going to get your asses thrown out in the streets too. But see, to me, this is the ultimate politics, that they're going to go and they're going to frame it, well, it's the blue states who had all the evictions, not the red states. So therefore, they stay fucking silent on this shit. Right. And this is the circus that is D.C. Yeah. We have no friends in D.C., ladies and gentlemen. None.
And so then Max goes on to say, an intense argument broke out last night at the Capitol between an activist and members of the squad on the refusal to directly confront Pelosi, because that is the obvious thing. They're not confronting Pelosi. And he said, I asked Cory Bush about the exchange and why the squad didn't use the leverage to force a Medicare for All vote. Her staff shut me down ASAP. This is the part where I was like, wow.
Yeah, this is crazy.
That's where we are.
And I heard, like, last night there was a lot less people. It's great to see so many more people. But I heard there was an intense debate about the role of the squad and why the squad didn't leverage its vote for the speaker for Medicare for All vote, and why the squad, I mean, with the margin so narrow in Congress, why the squad didn't because leverage its vote on the stimulus to get a $15 minimum wage. What?
No. So first, one thing that was said last night, which is something that's very true, and I wish we would have talked about that this was where your conversation was going, because we're talking about the rally for tonight. And I really would love to keep the conversation on what's happening.
I feel like it's all related to healthcare and the...
It absolutely is, but this is the thing. What was said last night is that this bill, Medicare for All, is not, there's no person on the squad whose bill that is. That is Bernie Sanders' bill in the Senate. It is Pamela Jayapal's bill in the House. It is not our bill. We cannot make that bill come to the floor. There is nothing that we can do legally to get the bill to the floor. We have
But Pelosi could have brought the bill to the floor.
We're good here, thank you.
Well,
I'm sorry, man. We're fine at this.
Why can't she answer the question?
We're here to talk about the eviction.
But I feel like it's all about health care.
Thank you.
No, really appreciate that.
Really appreciate your time.
We're here for a reason. It's about the moratorium.
Well, why is that? I can't ask about Medicare for All.
The Congresswoman has slept 1 hour. She's done a lot of labor.
I'm trying to get people out here too.
I respect your work.
I'm trying to do the same thing you all are doing.
Thank you for being here.
But why can't she could just answer it and then I go away? I'm not trying to attack her or anything. I'm not trying to smear her.
We're happy to give you a contact and you can reach out.
But why is that issue, the Medicare for All vote, so she was wrapping up her?
I'm not having this conversation.
But she was wrapping up her. I know she was wrapping up her answer. Then I was going to say thank you. Everybody come out.
I appreciate.
But why didn't you let her just wrap up her answer?
I really appreciate you. We're happy to give you a contact. You can feel free to reach out. Thanks so much.
All right, thanks.
Yo, that's the dude he compared to George Murasan, by the way. Max did on Jimmy's show. He says this guy looks like George Murasan, who's like one of those guys who can grab the rims in basketball without even jumping. He's the guy that was, and you see that guy throughout the whole night. He's
and
the
Max
bodyguard.
Is tall too.
And Max is like 6'1", right? 6'2". So.
Yeah.
But go ahead, please. Sorry, fam. I had to just point it out.
He was so respectful and nice. By the way, he wasn't even a little bit aggressive. Really, he just, he was firm after he was like, why can't she answer on Medicare for All? Like, that's the thing. Why can't she answer on something she ran on? She ran on that. So did AOC. So did the entire squad. They ran on Medicare for All. It's a valid question, and I hate it when these people says. She's like, well, you asked about this, not that. It has everything to do with it. If people had health care, they'd be less likely to be evicted. They don't have to choose between their insulin and the rent. If people had health care, they wouldn't be in debt. If people had health care, you would have less people dying of whatever it is, whether it's COVID or whether it's another complication that's not being looked at because the system is, overburdened by COVID and all this stuff, whatever the hell it is. Like, it's all connected. Saying like, no, you can't ask about this is ridiculous. I will not accept that answer anymore. And I hate it when people talk about that. Like, you can't talk about imperialism. This is about housing. Like, that's not how it works.
Yeah. It's all connected, right? All the money we spend, whatnot, and Max kind of tied it together too as well. But really, even too, fam, how come you can't give a good bullshit answer as a politician? Instead of backing away from us, I wish you wouldn't have gone. I would have known this is where you're going when you're questioning.
Yeah.
You've just exposed yourself right now that you don't want to answer these questions.
Right.
That's a great question, Max. You know something? I'm new to Congress, really, to tell you the truth. And maybe I was wrong for selecting the kind of just working with people to get Medicare rather than forcing that vote. I could have made a wrong decision, but that's the avenue we took. We thought it would be better to negotiate with these people rather than put them under the magnifying glass because we didn't want to lose Medicare for all, and we thought that forced the vote would have put that in jeopardy. Hello? I just on the fucking fly. On the fly, and I got a high school education over here with some fucking college. What is wrong with these people over here? They can't even give a good bullshit answer. She exposed herself,
and she lied
so
because
hard.
They could have actually. She says we can't. That's not our bill. She's washing her hands because again, she's a legislator. She holds power, and also they could have withheld their vote from Nancy Pelosi until she did what they wanted them to do. They could have gone to the 100-something people in the progressive caucus that all supposedly are progressive and demanded that they form an alliance to not give Nancy Pelosi the vote. That was the whole point of force to vote. I was even pissed that it was even a thing because I wouldn't have voted for Pelosi, period. But it was the whole thing, we're not going to vote for the speaker unless she does this. But they gave up all their power.
Yeah.
And that's what she's not addressing. She's saying, legislate, I can't, it's not my bill. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about using your leverage to force the vote. And she knows that that's what he's talking about.
Yeah. Mad Max guilty, dude. She was guilty.
Yeah,
totally guilty.
That's why she was caught off guard.
She was.
Her handlers are like, just don't even address it.
Yeah.
Don't even address it.
We're
going to make sure no one asks you that question. That's what so then she doesn't even think about it, right? So then when Max comes in out of nowhere with the fucking question, it's like, whoa.
Yeah. It was like that. Hello. I was going to say something too about, and I totally lost my chain of thought, but I'll probably remember in a second. It was
just real quick.
Wait, what I was going to say is that Max did say what the squad could do as a voting block is they can stop all legislation. In other words, they can say, listen, you're getting no legislation passed unless Joe Biden takes out his pen and, decriminalizes marijuana, makes it legal, or he takes care of student debt.
Yep.
Like, he literally said that, and it's true when you think about it. It's like they can shut everything down like the Freedom Caucus did until they get at least some of what they want. We're getting none of what we want and none of what they promised us they would go get us when they ran. Yeah. Sorry, fam.
No, absolutely. And this is what she says too.
Chuck Modi,
that the House was caught off guard. Let's listen to what she says to this journalist.
Here because folks in all sorts of positions of leadership, from the White House to Congress and beyond, seem to be poised to allow the national eviction moratorium to expire today as the Delta variant is surging, as only 3 out of $46 billion in emergency rental assistance has been actually released to people to stay in their homes. And they're not just adjourning and leaving town for a weekend, but they're about to leave town for 7 weeks as this moratorium expires tonight. And so we're out here today just joining and supporting everyday people who are showing up and saying, we need to come back and do our job and extend the moratorium.
So the critique that I've gotten in the last 24 hours is why today, why not earlier? What do you say to that when you hear that?
Well, I think there's a couple of things. First of all, there was a court order that came down a month ago from the court that told the White House that you all need to call on Congress to extend the eviction moratorium if you want to extend it. Now, what the White House did, frankly, was not issue a statement to call. They did not call on Congress for the entire month, and they did not advocate for extending the moratorium until the day before Congress was set to adjourn. And so the House was caught off guard completely by the White House's statement at the very last minute and attempt to whip votes. There was some resistance in the House, and members literally started getting on planes.
Right.
Instead of voting to extend the moratorium. And so we're here to say, no, no, no. We need to come back, do our jobs, and then you can go on vacation.
Okay.
So they were caught off guard.
So the White House put out a statement the day before it expires, right? So they're saying that they were caught off guard by that. But the most I've seen as evidence of them trying was them sending letters or something like that, which doesn't do anything. Like you receive a letter from your grandma, you thank her, that's it. You know what I'm saying? Like letters don't do anything.
With the $10 check.
Yeah. Yeah. Letters don't do anything. And we're gonna have Franco on in a minute, but we can go ahead and start talking about this because Franco exposed AOC multiple times. And we're going to talk about those times, but we're also going to go through it with Franco too, because he, him and Max really like killed it out there.
You want to do some quick super rays, or you want to keep continuing?
Yeah, if you want to do some.
Yeah, I'll get some super rays out of the way because we got a lot of peeps watching. And by the way, 415 people on the YouTube.
Get that number up. Franco's about to spit some fire.
Get on over to the Rokfin, ROKFIN 81, and currently climbing. Trey Wright. We already acknowledged you. Just want to acknowledge you again because I love you. Marlene Smith, thank you so much for the generous Super Ray contribution. Sending love, fam, including Franco. He's been doing an outstanding job.
He has.
Pressure on. That's what we're supposed to do. Arem, thank you for the Super Ray contribution. It is always appreciated on the couch. Taro, man, thank you for the Super Chat contribution. It is a Super Ray contribution. It is always appreciated on the couch. OG North American Ape, what's up, buddy? Great to see you. The fact that anyone buys this is wild.
It is.
They didn't even really pressure leadership. They were all buddy-buddy with Schumer and Adam Schiff.
Yep.
Who believes that this is what forced Biden to do something? And if folks believe it did, then why did they push the squad to continue doing this on another issues? I'm sorry. And if folks believed it,
why
don't they push the squad to continue doing this on other issues? I don't know why they don't continue to push the squad doing this on other issues. Carrie Mark, no arrest for Booker or AOC for violating the steps with a protest or a riot.
No.
We would be arrested.
Yep.
All for free media hype. Carrie Mark, thank you so much. Carrie Mark, thank you so much as well as hashtag 2 wings, same vulture. That's why they call it the right wing and the left wing, Carrie Mark. You're absolutely right. Eek. Crisis averted with a broken Hand-Aid. That's awesome. A broken Band-Aid. And that's all this is. The solution is not really the solution. It's just kicking the can down the road. They haven't worked out what they really need to do. They pass a gazillion add-ons with every bill, yet can't talk about more than one subject. Gaslighting much, says Carrie Mark? I guess so. Ben Smith, good work, guys. Roar Media, how you doing, Roar Media? We love you. To all the candidates running as Democrats against the establishment Democrats. After the Chantel Brown installment by the AIPAC, which is, very true, and the corrupt Democratic establishment, why are you wasting our money and your time shoring up duopoly's electoral con game? You have some GD explaining to do.
Goddamn explaining
to. I expect you to reach out to our brothers and sisters and the people's media and explain how you are not part of this con. Thank you so much, Roar Media. We love facts on the ground. Thank you for the Super Ray contribution. We love you, Franco. Great work. Love you too, Pasta and Fee and Fams. That's some facts on the ground. Hashtag Roar Media. Thank you so much for the Super Ray contribution. Brother Franco is one of the kindest, most thoughtful people on the streets today. He is, but he got all crazy on those people down there, fam. He's still not here yet. So why don't we start with his first video?
Did you send it to his DM? Okay.
Yeah. We'll start with his first video, and then we'll
we'll get his reaction.
We'll get his reaction when he jumps on in. So here's the first video he got when he was cornering AOC when she was taking photo ops, and he asked her, "Hey, what's up?"
all about our principles. MAGA forgot that. MAGA waved the flag thinking it's all about the ego. But it's about our equality, justice, equality, human rights.
Get out.
I'm so proud to protect. America means protecting the meek and the weak from being exploited, enslaved, victimized, bullied, or harmed. It's a joy to do so.
AOC, is it okay if I get like a question or two? Question two, what's the next steps? What are you guys going to do to pressure your colleagues? How are you going to pressure your colleagues? Why are you guys doing this last minute? Why weren't you guys doing this for months? That's it. So you just show up for a photo op and that's it. You're not actually going to fight in Congress. No, what is she going to do? You want to talk about it here? We can discuss right here very civilly. Who are you with? I'm completely independent.
Fam, what if you did have a plan and they were yelling to you and asked you a plan? Would you not stop, turn around, and give them that plan? This is what we're going to do, Franco. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a sit-in in Nancy Pelosi's office. And I'm going to do the blah, 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 blah. And then we're going to wait there until they vote to cancel the rent. Right. We are not leaving. We are not going to let them sleep. We're going to put information out there. We're going to have everybody call their congressperson and say, you vote to cancel the rent. Otherwise, you will not get any sleep. And that's what we're going to do.
100%. And we'll... Okay, great.
There he is. What's going on, buddy?
You sound great.
Well, do a little flow, and then I'll tell you how you sound.
Stop it.
Do a little freestyle, Franco.
Franco, do you rap? I didn't know that. Oh. No, but you ask great questions that other people do not ask. We just went over your video where you were chasing after AOC because you were asking her what was going on with the eviction, why they waited till the last minute. And so what can you just go into that? Like, did they actually say anything more to you? It's kind of hard to hear.
Yeah.
Yes. We can hear you. Give me 1 second to check if the audience can hear you. Okay.
All right, let us know, audience. Can you hear Franco?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Make check.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, they can hear you.
All right, we got you now.
So Franco, just give us a lowdown on what happened, like, because it was harder to hear. So just give us a lowdown on like how you were trying to ask her something and then she just seemed to run away.
Okay. Okay, they're saying that they can hear me now.
Yep.
Yeah, I went up to her. I was waiting for the photo op to finish because I was thinking at the time, like, if I start like talking smack to them and like start yelling at her right then and there, I can't have an interview with her and expose her talking points.
Right.
So I wanted to have a calm conversation with her and expose her talking points like how I usually do.
Yep.
When I bring people on the show. But she just kept running away. And like how you guys were saying, if she was actually confident with her plan, why didn't she just turn around and talk to a working class person and explain to them what the plan is? Like for all she knows, like I could be somebody that's about to face eviction,
right?
Or I know I have loved ones, or I could have loved ones that are going to face evictions. Like we deserve to know this, but instead they're treating her like a celebrity with her bodyguards and like, no, she's not taking questions. She's not taking questions. Like she's a public servant and she's not responding to us.
Right. And the same thing happened with Max when he asked Cori Bush, why didn't about the force the vote and all these questions, like it took her away. So these public servants aren't available to the public to answer to the public, which defeats their purpose. 1, 2, you were asking a very basic question, like what's your next plan? What are we going to do next? Also, Franco, I want to get your take. You know, you've seen the amount of police surrounding Assange activists, surrounding Force the Vote, and the crowds of March for Medicare for All. How was the crowd size? And also, did you see very many cops around? Like, it didn't seem like an actual protest to me. It seemed like a loud, planned event with a lot of media taking pictures.
I went there 3 days. I went there on Saturday, and then I went back on Sunday, and then I went yesterday on Tuesday. On Saturday, there was a lot of people at night, like at midnight. They made a post on Twitter talking about how there's going to be a rally at midnight. I showed up around that time. There was a lot of college students there, mainly. Not too many like working class people that I saw that are, you know, not college students.
Right.
I didn't see any homeless people there. Maybe they were there earlier. The next day on Sunday, there were less people. I showed up around 9 p.m. And then I stayed until like, I stayed around like 11 or 12, and same kind of people, college students. And then at 6 p.m., which in the video you guys are going to show, it was still just college students, but there were even less, like there was like a couple of like black and brown people that they didn't look like they were college students, that were like in their 40s, that were there in the weekend. I didn't see very many of them in the yesterday. The police were very, very nice to everybody. It seemed like they weren't expecting anything to break out. They probably received orders saying that, you know, this is something planned, like the Congress people have everything under control. Right. But they were just gonna keep an eye out, I guess, in case anybody shows up and tries to create chaos.
Yeah. I don't know, Pasta, you have anything to say on that?
No, I'm just saying, thankful for independent media. This is the importance of independent media. You know, we get these optics there right now, like Franco's pointing out. We have some college students there. It looked like mostly staff, you know, very controlled environment. And there was anybody there to push back against these people. If Franco and Max does not show up, you know, then we have a totally different event. But now we've been able to show some kinks in the armor and really get to the bottom of what is going on and what we needed to do. So thank you so much for showing up, Franco, first of all. It's just amazing.
Yeah. One other thing, Franco, I wanted to say was that it's really, really weird to me that people are celebrating something that was led by politicians and not by the people affected. Like when we talk about protests here, when we've covered, you know, housing issues, it's led by the people that are getting evicted, the people that are unhoused. You know, the microphone is on those people, not on politicians. Even if the politician is an ally, the microphone and the attention is never on them, because they're not the ones that create change. They're just the ones that the people push to make that. They represent the people. They're supposed to represent the people. So it's interesting to me that people are so celebrating something that is not led by the working class. It's almost like specifically excluding the unhoused and the people who are facing eviction, because if they did include those people, trust me, you would have police everywhere. Those people would not be kind to these politicians. They would tell them, what the hell is this going to do for us? Because we have been interviewing those people. We have been attending these events, and they don't care about like the COVID regulations and all of this political theater going on in DC. They care about the fact that they have to be on the streets, that they're criminalizing, that these politicians are criminalizing poverty, and then patting themselves on the back when they're like, oh, we'll give you a program that's not really going to help you, that's going to make you feel like you're in prison. That's why this is such a big issue to us, because we see this and then compare it to actual protests led by the working class here, and it's like completely night and day.
Yeah.
It didn't look like a real protest. Like when in the beginning of the Black Lives Matter protest, working class people, like how you were mentioning, Fiorella, were speaking. Like they had the megaphones and they were telling their stories. I didn't see that when I was there on the ground. Like they didn't give a mic to people to like share their stories, why this is personal to them.
Yeah. Right.
And I would say like 99% of the people there were kids that have their parents pay for everything, like for college.
Privileged? Don't say that.
That's kind of what it seemed like, the pushback you were getting. Now I want your opinion on some of these things we're going to go over, because Max Blumenthal, of course, was also there. We already went over. I just wanted to point out a tweet in one of his threads, Johnny, the third one, I believe. He said, this is what AOC said: there are different theories of change, and some say if you're nice enough and gentle enough, you'll get what you want. We don't subscribe to that theory. You need confrontation. I just want to get your opinion, Franco, on that quote from AOC. Like, I don't is this is confrontation?
Like what she did, is that confrontation, or what me and Max did was confrontation?
No, I'm asking because she's saying we don't subscribe to this theory of change of being polite and if you're nice enough and gentle enough. We don't subscribe to that theory. You need confrontation. So she's saying
she's not doing that.
That this is
like, how is she doing that? Why isn't she confronting Mama Bear? She's not doing that. Why isn't she calling out Joe Biden by name? I still haven't seen a single tweet. I could be wrong, but for a long time, there wasn't a single tweet of her calling out Joe Biden by name and how he's an imperialist and how all this money is being allocated to the military-industrial complex for the genocide in Yemen, to push for a regime change war in Syria, in Libya. Like, I don't see her calling out Joe Biden by name. She was aggressively calling out Donald Trump. But these people are the same. They're serving the same ruling class people. Why aren't you calling them out by name? She's not confrontational. This is theatrics. Like, it's giving, and it's still keeping people in the two-party illusion.
Exactly.
By, like, right now, the Democrats have the majority of the House and the Senate, but they're trying to act like, oh, it's just Republicans and just a couple moderate Democrats that are trying to be civil with some Republicans.
Right. It almost perpetuates the illusion of the two-party system by claiming this as a victory. And we're going to go into that a little bit more. Johnny, if you can just go to the DSA one, the DSA video, because I wanted to point out specifically AOC's language because it's important, right? Franco, I've seen you on the ground for Assange. I've seen you on the ground for Force the Vote. I've seen you on the ground for March for Medicare for All. You're always on the ground. You're not just a journalist or a citizen journalist or a commentator. You're an activist as well.
It's the other way, Johnny.
And this right here, and it says DSA on the link. Oh, and so you're coming at this from an activist perspective. You're not coming at this from just, I am like a Hill or Intercept journalist, So the language that AOC uses when she talks about direct action, to me, it's important to point out because we've been pushing people to do direct action here on the show. You've done it. We've done it. And when people don't push for direct action, to me, that is like an extreme tell, especially as a politician that's claiming to be she came from an organizing school. So let's just hear what she said.
We got it. My bad.
Oh, this isn't.
This is the DSA one. We got it.
Okay, great. Just give us a second.
Sorry about that, Franco.
What's up, DSA? This is Representative Ocasio-Cortez. We're relieving Sister Cori Bush out there for a little while. She's out getting some rest. We're out tapping in, and we're here occupying the front steps until we get an extension on the eviction moratorium. So we're out here doing our direct action. We just hope, and I'm just wishing you all the best of luck, all the solidarity, all of the discourse, all of the engagement, all of it in the world. We just hope you have an amazingly positive and wonderful experience on this third day of convention. So thank you so much. And we're holding it down out here. We hope you hold it down out there. Solidarity.
Yeah, we're doing our direct action. Again, Franco, to me, direct action means like challenging the status quo.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, like how you guys were saying, like they had planned, and some of the people there were calling me out saying that, oh, they've been talking about it for months. Yeah, tweeting about it and just complaining and telling people, how does this affect you and your family? Isn't the same thing as organizing, all right, we're going to have this event on this day. Let's try to get as many people here as we can. They weren't doing that. They did that last minute. Yeah. And like we've already been saying, it was like some college students and some staffers. And it looked like a lot of them were coached on how to handle some situations where there's a heckler like me. Like, for example, like there were like in the clip that you guys are going to show, like there was a guy that was like, mic check. And like all the other students who are probably interns and some of the other staffers were also chanting that. And then they were just like trying to have some damage control. Like they have their talking points ready to defend the Democratic Party. But that's what these corporations lobby for, is to protect these politicians. And so these interns are their minions.
The mic check thing is the Occupy Wall Street People's Mic. That's what they use that for. And they're actually kind of hijack that now. That
Yeah.
that whole movement. But
Yeah.
my question to you guys is, like, at this point right now, you see AOC kind of virtue signaling the whole way. We have a theatrics on the step of the Capitol over here, still kind of calling out DSA, which has been exposed for being corrupted from their leadership down below. I mean, what is the mentality right now of the establishment or the people who are working with the establishment? Is it just to get the people that they can confuse and control and trick to believe that they are still fighting for them? Because a lot of people got to say, they got to call bullshit on the squad now. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to see what Max did and what Frank did and go, okay, bullshit now. Now you're just BSing and stuff like that. What's their play? To just use the media to control and get the low-hanging fruit to keep people convinced that they can convince to go along with this plan? Because it's got to seem to me that they got to be failing and people got to be seeing this.
Yeah, I mean, look at the people that Franco, and we're going to show that video shortly, that, you know, how Franco was treated and how even Max Blumenthal was treated too when they were asking these tough questions to these people. I mean, there's a lot of brainwashed people, and that's who they're going for. They're going for the sycophants, right? And Johnny, you can just go ahead and skip to the Max Blumenthal confrontation to Rep Adam Schiff.
Schiff for brains?
Yeah, because I think that's important to point out, because this is where Franco, and I want to get your take on this too after we hear it. There's this whole idea that these people say, you know, well, we're talking about this. We're talking about evictions. Why are you bringing up imperialism? Why are you bringing up free speech? Why are you bringing up, you know, Medicare for all? Like, because it's all connected, right? 100%. So
this is the 2 minute and 19-second video.
Yeah, let's just watch this video quickly.
Yeah.
From apartheid Israel to free housing for Americans. Representative Schiff, do you think we could reallocate $4 billion from apartheid Israel to free housing for Americans? The $4 billion that you allocate every year to apartheid Israel?
Thanks for coming out here.
Why Jesse Jackson opposes all the wars you support? Representative Schiff, Jesse Jackson opposes all the wars you support.
Can we give them a moment, please? Can we just give them a moment, please?
What about is there any war you have opposed, Representative Schiff? Is there any war you've opposed? Those wars cost a lot that could be spent on housing for Americans.
Can we just give them a moment, please?
Yeah, this isn't just a matter of different politicians having different solutions to help us reach common goals. It's yet another front in this country's ongoing war against the poor.
And what has Adam Schiff done but talk about a new Cold War with Russia, supporting Israel, giving money to war instead of the poor? He stands for everything Martin Luther King was against. And he's here for a phony photo op. This pro-war right-wing Democrat wants a photo op with Jesse Jackson when Jesse Jackson opposes every war that he supported. Why did you support the genocide in Yemen? Why do you support the brutal assaults on Palestinians? Why not? He's a pro-war legislator.
Can you please
this
stop?
Is a public space.
This is something not about
You don't
this.
control this. The people control this.
But they're here with their time. They are taking time for us as the people.
He's here for a photo op. He gives all our money to war.
Please stop.
War is part of the topic.
Look, you have the freedom of speech, but this is about something else. This is about people's homes.
Yes.
People are
Why
going
are
through
we
a
spending
crisis
$4
right now.
billion on Israel every year instead of free housing for Americans?
Thank you so much.
$5 trillion.
Adam Schiff doesn't agree. He should be pressured. This is not your friend. $4 billion a year to apartheid Israel. We need to put pressure on these people who are giving our money away that should be spent on free housing.
All right, Franco, there's so much to unpack on that video, but I just want to hear your thoughts.
A lot of people, I was thinking this, like when people were yelling at me too, and what some people are saying in the comment section, it feels like you're in the Twilight Zone.
Right.
But these people, like you saw, like when Max was saying, of course these issues are related. Like this is money that could be given to forgive people like who owe rent.
Right.
Like you can see that these people, like that girl, are just thinking like, what? Like there's something clicks in their head. It's at least in their subconscious.
Yeah.
Because they're not used to connecting these dots together.
Right.
That's not how they're trying to program us with all this propaganda in the mainstream media and with what these, politicians and their staffers and their PR team do. So that's why we need people that are going to be there. I guess these party poopers, you can call us, giving people a dose of reality, because it at least gets them to think a little bit. It's gonna stick with them in their subconscious, and hopefully they start questioning more. And they're gonna be like, "Oh, what? Not everybody's happy with what the squad is doing."
Yeah, and the thing that really pissed me off more than anything, fams, was you got Cori Bush over here shaking hands with Adam Schiff. Now, first of all, Max was great, but he forgot to mention, what about Libya, where there's a slave trade going on? What about the Ukraine, when Adam Schiff had a big play in that, whatnot and stuff? And I'm just joking around right now because there isn't a war that Adam Schiff hasn't fucking liked and stuff like that. But there's an actual slave trade going on in Libya right now. And Cori Bush was talking about the white supremacy president. Meanwhile, she's got the guy over here who pushed Congress to get involved with Libya. In other words, Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama couldn't bomb Libya fast enough for Adam Schiff. He was literally on Al Jazeera encouraging them to go bomb, right? And now you're going to go shaking his hand while he's also there with that little cuck, Jimmy Gomez, too, right? Who's got 95% of his money from PAC money. All you have to do is go to Open Secrets. The guy has been bought off by Big Pharma, let alone, and shit. And the fact is that people sit there and they see this shit and they allow these people to come into their circles, their organizations. Jimmy Gomez was just going and honoring these people who were doing work on the street. Why don't people wake up to what's going on and see these politicians for what they are? Adam Schiff is the biggest warmonger on the fucking planet, right? And now we're going to praise him and stuff. You could tell that these people are fake. All you have to do is do a little digging. And that was the most disgusting thing right there to me. And how Cori Bush is full of it. That she wouldn't call out Adam Schiff right there.
Yeah.
What did Kyle Kalinske say when he was forming the Justice Democrats, that they weren't there to make friends, but then they're becoming friends with these war criminals? Like, if Cori Bush was truly on our side, she would have been giving a speech exposing these people. That's the most you can do if you get elected into Congress. You're not going to get much policy passed because there's going to be so much resistance from these corporate politicians. So the best you can do is expose these corporate politicians, but that's not what they're doing. They're shaking hands with them.
Yeah. And they also said that, this is the talk right now. Well, AOC and the squad, they're still more with our ideology. They're not like Nancy Pelosi or Chuck Schumer, these corporate Democrats who take money from PACs to do what they're to do. No, they're actually worse in some ways because they're acting like they're there to fight for you. Meanwhile, they're capitulating to the establishment behind their back. So just because they're
complicit with imperialism.
Exactly. They are. And that to me is corruption.
It's worse.
And there's people that were, I want to give some, I can't remember who exactly said it in my comment section, but they were like, yo, let's just start calling her Cori W. Bush.
Oh. Burn.
That's got to stick.
And Johnny,
they're enabling this stuff.
For these things, Johnny, I just wanted to show the virtue signal because this is it's just virtue signaling. We can show it while we talk. Look, they're doing some sort of impromptu dance, and the cameras, of course, are always there. They're always playing while they're doing this. And then another thing is this thing really just pissed me off. This whole it's disrespectful for people who are really, really losing their shit. To have pictures of politicians holding up a phone, this next one is just it is a peak neoliberalism, thoughts and prayers. And it was very similar to the kente cloth situation that Pelosi and the others did, because it's the same, it's coming from the same place, right? Yeah. And it's that whole, look, we're gonna give you symbolic gestures in place of actual economic change, economic legislation. And Johnny, wanted to show the kente cloth thing too, because it's right
I wish we
up
were there,
that
fam.
alley.
I
know we would have been there had we known this was a thing that was going to happen, right?
And what would we have liked to have asked AOC and Jamal Bauman? Hey guys, just curious, why'd you vote present on that bill for when it came to funding the police and stuff? Why'd you vote present to allow it to pass? Yeah. Right, Johnny?
Right. AOC and Bauman,
we've
been talking about this all the time.
That this is going to be postponed. I would be down to help organize an event, and we can all get back together in DC if you guys are able to.
Yeah, I mean, I know that we're going for the September 11th anti-war event as well. And, one of the people that I thought 5 years ago would be completely opposed to doing anything like this is Bernie Sanders. Yet Bernard showed up and was praising AOC and Cori Bush for what they did. And, just I mean, what have any of them actually done to actually extend this moratorium, to cancel rent, to tackle the economic situations that were dire before COVID hit? Like, they're just,
Where's their mask?
COVID. It was before COVID. Like, yeah. That's beside the point, Pasta.
I know, I'm just joking around.
But
sorry.
yeah, no mask. Yeah.
Where's your mask? Where's your mask?
Yeah.
Sorry.
So
that was a dickhead move by me. I apologize.
But it's true. And yeah, one of the last things I wanted to show before we move on to Franco's. Cori Bush left, right? Cori Bush left after 4 days. She left and switched out with AOC. AOC took over the protests. Cori was going home to recharge, and people were chanting Cori, Cori, Cori. My issue with this whole thing is, and you can just show it while we talk, because it's not about her. It's not about AOC. It's not about Cori Bush. It's about the people. Again, when you make a politician the center of your protest, it's not a real protest.
Yeah.
Because it's not about them. They have houses to go home to. All these people that Franco saw, that you guys are seeing now, all have houses to go home to.
Yes.
But
that's why the predator class this time around, the people they chose to get into government to dupe the younger class, was activist, right? Or supposed activists, because now you can say, well, they're activists, they know what we're doing, and we're going to allow them to take the lead. And that's what they're going to show. They're going to show these pictures over and over, all over social media. They're going to shadow ban all of Franco's stuff, all of Max and Blumenthal's stuff, and they're going to push forward this stuff and go, look at these heroes. Get behind them. Cori Bush knows how to do this. Look what she just did.
That's
she got
exactly
a victory
what they're doing.
because she was an activist, and that's why we elected an activist to
works.
go to Congress and fight for us. AOC and Cori Bush, it's working.
It's working. The squad is working. See, if we get more of them, you're going to get more.
That's
why this is, to me, far more dangerous than it seems, because it cements the faith of some of these people in the squad. Man, Franco, let's just go, Johnny, right to Franco, asking AOC, because
this was the best.
This Franco,
was the best.
I was watching this live.
He laughed
okay,
at him.
I was watching this live, and I was so angry at the way they were treating you that I wanted to teleport there and just join you. Because if I had been, imagine
a lot of people are feeling like that.
Oh God, Franco!
But he laughs at her face.
They're like, we'll see the clip. We'll see the clip.
Laughing in AOC's face. When Fiorella put that up, we were driving. I went to it immediately. You know what, dude? I am so proud of you, and I'm so thankful for you that you did that, because that moment you just put them on blast and you put them on display. Like, okay, how are you going to solve this? We're going to get to that. Ha! That's great.
All right, let's play it. It's the one I posted on the thing.
Franco asked AOC about those who can pay rent. This is great. This is just I could watch this 1,000 times.
Yeah. I probably did watch it.
Will people's rent be forgiven?
Hey, we're gonna figure that out.
Of course.
What are you going to do?
I'll keep pressuring. Yeah.
So here's what we're gonna do. The CDC just announced an eviction moratorium, and what we're here is for our reasons known and unknown. So our reasons known was to make sure that we extended this moratorium. That's what we're here to do.
This is only ceasefire. This is only ceasefire. This is not a victory. People still owe money. People still owe money. People still owe money.
Look at them.
This is
Wow.
only ceasefire.
Can you play
People
the very
still
first
owe
beginning of that
money.
again, Johnny?
Will people's rent be forgiven?
None of that
Will people's rent be forgiven?
Hey, we're gonna figure that out.
We're going to figure that out. You should have had it figured out about 6 months ago, ladies and gentlemen. Cancel the rent. Cancel the rent. That's it.
All right, let's watch the rest of it.
Sorry about that. There was not much more, though.
Yeah, there is.
It's not a victory. People still owe money. People still owe money. People still owe money. No, this is only ceasefire. People still owe money. What are we going to do in 90 days? You're acting like this is a victory when people still owe money.
Yeah, we're going to keep working.
What are you going to do? You charged us. What are you going to do?
Hold your corporate colleagues accountable. They're giving money to Israel, an apartheid state, when they could be using that money to forget people's rent.
Give it up for a minute.
That was Medea Benjamin.
That's right. Then don't stop coming out. Keep showing up for 90 days straight. Then let's do it. Let's not stop. Let's not only rely on them.
But they are exhausted and we need to help them.
Then let's keep doing. Then we need to not rely on leaders.
Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. Thank you all. Real quick. Tensions are starting to escalate. Someone says real quick. The overall sentiment here is we can take a pause to appreciate the efforts that we've all collectively put together and accomplished.
So that corporations can scheme in the meantime.
Like the Congress have said, the work is still not done, and that requires us to be here. Everyone keeps asking, what should we do now? We're going to keep here. We're going to stay here until the rest of the work gets done.
We're not buying the theatrics. We're not buying the theatrics.
You're just one person.
No, I'm not one person. My man right there. We have 137 people watching.
137
yes.
people.
Damn. People that are there. Which is more people that are there. 137. You got 22 people out here, buddy.
Like, there's probably a little more than that, but come on, like, just Franco, go ahead.
Yeah, the one thing I wish I could have said is the girl who was also confronting Max, who confronted me in that video.
Yep.
I wish I could have said, because we was like, we need to help them. They're like, no, you got it backwards. They need to help us.
Exactly.
Like, you saw how Colin, he was like, what are you going to do? What are you, because they're saying like we, but they're implying like us, like we're going to still be out there.
Yeah.
What are they going to do? They're going to go to vacation. Like, if they were actually real about it, they would be giving Colin like a concrete plan of what they will do. Will they continue their efforts to cancel rent? Because that's the real victory.
Right.
When all these people who owe rent like that, and then even then we can't stop because there's all these other issues that are still a problem.
Right.
All these wars we're in, how people don't have how people don't have Medicare, right? Because that adds on to the debt and all the things that they owe. But these people are just brainwashed, and it really did feel like I was in an episode of The Twilight, and later on in the clip, like you see, like even people like coming up to my face, like I felt like, I was like about to be attacked because of how they were insulting me.
I have the clip of that.
Yelling me aggressively, like I was getting like spit, like hit on my face because of how close they were. And then they're like, don't film me. I'm like, what the heck? Like, what if you like lash out on me? I'm gonna have my camera on.
Yeah, you have every right to film.
Protect myself.
Yeah.
You have every right to film. People can't tell you not to film. Like that's ridiculous. You have every right to film.
It was so disappointing also for Medea Benjamin, who stood up against these Republicans, like Donald Trump's administration, when they were giving their PR for why do we need to stay in war. And remember, she had to be like taken out with bodyguards.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was inspired by her to do what I did.
Oh,
But then she's telling me to give it up. It was so disappointing. And then later on, like me and Colin went up. I was like, I'm not even gonna talk to her because I feel like she doesn't want to talk to me. Colin, you can go up to her and ask her if she can answer just one question, which is her thoughts on this. And she's like, no, you guys are being nasty, and she walked away.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's time, retirement, liaise.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to say it. It's time. Hand over the reins. Hand over to the reins to the people who are going to understand what the foreign policy apparatus is. And you're supposed to know this stuff. She's done so much great work, but
I mean, that's what we need to do now. What you did was what needs to be done. And there was a guy that came up to you, and I wanted to show this because when I was watching this, I was like, I can't believe this guy is so brainwashed. Like, he's over here defending politicians and going at you personally attacking you as a person when he doesn't know who
Yeah.
you are. He doesn't know your work. He doesn't know.
And then he started projecting, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, so I just have this couple videos I want to show right here.
Like the congresspersons have said, the work is still not done, and that requires us being here. Everyone keeps asking, what should we do now? We're going to keep here. We're going to stay here until the rest of the work gets done.
We're not buying the theatrics. We're not buying the theatrics.
It's not over. There's still one person.
No, I'm not one person. My man right there. We have 137 people watching.
137 people. Damn.
For a small channel, what, you're going to say I can't do this?
I didn't say you can't do this, but you're talking like we are.
Yeah, there's homeless people that owe rent. What are we going to do about that? This is only a 90-day pause, and they know it. They don't. You saw how AOC said, oh, we'll talk about that later, because she doesn't have an answer now. Because she hasn't thought about it. Just like she waited for this for months. She waited for this for months, and then to do this last minute, she has a huge following. They were tweeting about it months ago.
She had her first legislation.
What do you mean? What was I doing? Informing people. You think I shouldn't inform people? How am I trolling? How is it irrelevant that they're using money? How is it irrelevant that they're using money for wars when they could be giving money to the homeless?
Dumbass.
They voted for it.
No, they didn't.
Voted
They
to
voted
increase the
against
budget
it.
for Israel.
No, they voted against it. You don't even know what you're talking about.
I know what I'm
One
talking
link
about.
of research before you go out.
They increased the budget for Israel.
Go like your YouTube channel. Know what you feel.
Yeah, like I saw that whole exchange, and I was like, how is this happening? Like, how is this guy making so many assumptions about you? He's obviously never seen your YouTube channel. This is him. I think that's his real profile. Because there was two.
Saying, yeah, that was.
He worked for RT, or he did not. He worked for Redacted Tonight. He works, right? Which I don't know. I don't know if it's his real profile. Somebody was saying that it's not. I don't know. I don't know which it is, but
there was a parody account that I had tagged because it was like Anders Lee there. The real one is Anders Lee here.
Okay.
But yeah, like I'm trying to calm things down with him. Like I messaged him and I'm like, I will take down these tweets, like me, like outing you, because he was like, oh, don't put the camera on me, even though, I already explained I had to, like, he put himself in that situation, first of all, and I felt threatened. So I had to keep the camera rolling in case anything happened. But I was like, I'll take those down, because I don't want people to be focusing on this like conflict between people instead of like the actual issue here, of people losing their homes. I'll take that down if you agree to stop accusing me of only doing this for clicks, because he kept saying like, oh yeah, just go home and work on your YouTube channel, like telling me to not film like what's going on, and then saying like, oh, what have you organized, when I was like criticizing the squad. Yeah, you don't have to be a chef to critique food. You don't have to be a director to critique movies. That's absolutely ridiculous. Like, there's a lot of working class people that don't have time to be going to everywhere. I personally don't have time to be going everywhere, but from what I do have time, I show up. Yeah. I was at the March for Medicare for All. I was at the Force to Vote rallies. I was at several Julian Assange events. I go to where I can with my limited budget. So this guy is making drastic assumptions of me when he doesn't even know who I am. And so I was like, you were smearing me first, and you were talking about me on your Twitter before I tagged you. So if you agree to let that go, then I will delete those things, and I will go to those protests that you were telling me about that I didn't know, because that's what's most important. I want to film those events. Like, he was talking about these renters protests. I didn't know about them. Like, I would like to, but he's like, I don't trust you because you tagged me and you were filming me when you told me that I didn't want to be filmed. I'm like, again, buddy, you put yourself in that situation, like how I explained. And I'll take it down if you agree to stop smearing me.
Franco, I think you shouldn't even take it down. I think you should just be done with it. Like, you know what? They're staying up. Go to hell. Do what you want. Say what you want. He showed up there, right? So he put himself in a position. Why doesn't he want himself to be seen? What is he hiding? You know what I'm saying? If he's proud to go there and he has a reason, and he tried to debate this after too. I saw that video. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I wouldn't even take it down because his smears mean nothing, Franco. They mean nothing against you. The people who know you know what you're doing. They're going to stand behind you. This guy has no pull, no weight, and like we say, you're the nicest guy in the world. Everybody
Yes.
knows that. You know, Oz from Raw Media was telling me that this the other day. I was like, yo, Franco's the nicest guy in the freaking world, and you are being nice. But really, to tell you the truth, if nothing comes out of this, don't worry about it. Leave him up, move on, and don't even worry about it. Because
you're right.
he's
It's not
worth
about-
the time.
I'll see what I do.
Yeah.
But people already saw what they needed to see.
Right.
So
Exactly.
whether it stays up or it doesn't, people already saw it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not about that. You're absolutely right. And Johnny, we can just go to the Ryan Grimm part because I just, this section is a long one. Ryan Grimm also, you know, here's the thing to me. Ryan Grimm is a journalist. He's been a journalist for decades. He works for The Intercept. He constantly goes on and goes after people that are smaller than him all the time. You interviewed him. I saw your interview of him. Then he went on and posted a series of videos kind of just making fun of you and, you know, the way you're so that you push, right? This, if you subscribe to this theory of blah, 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 like he was just very arrogant about you the whole time. And I didn't like that. I didn't like that
The
he was
guy.
arrogant. Like
He gave you the word salad too. Like I don't even. As you were interviewing him, I'm like, what the hell is this guy talking about over here? Talking about what the Democratic Party was and used to be.
Cynicism.
I'm like, where the hell you
cynicism
go?
is cowardice. What? So just I wanted to hear your exchange on Ryan Grimm. Like what? Like what was it like talking to somebody that is so?
Oh my lord.
Yeah.
I would
That
say
dude
at
is
least
just
he
weird.
didn't run away. At least he was like one question, and at least he agreed to come on my show.
Yeah.
But if he's gonna come on my show, then he's gonna face the heat. Like I'm not gonna be like kissing his ass when he comes on. I'm gonna be asking him difficult questions, and I'm gonna be exposing him. Because I mean, as we already know, Ryan Grimm runs a lot of cover for the Democratic Party. He tries to shut down he tries to kneecap any movement that's outside of electoral politics. So that's gonna be talked about.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to go up to him and ask him about that. It's like, how long are we going to be in this abusive relationship with the Democratic Party? And then he started talking to me about U.S. history.
I know, right?
Of the Democratic Party.
I was like, what the hell? Where's he going with this shit here? And you're like, that's a word salad. I don't know what the hell you're talking about over there.
Right.
It was just funny because I didn't even know where he was going with the whole situation.
And just Franco, to start wrapping it up, is this a victory? I mean, obviously, I think I know where you stand. I know where we stand. But there's this video from Now This, right? This video from Now This. They posted this whole, and this is what irritates me most.
Schumer.
Because, we are hopeful that this is what will help 11 million people stay in their homes. Dems, including Rep. Cory Bush, Rep. AOC, and Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, celebrate action from CDC on eviction moratorium. Let's just play it. It's so Chuck Schumer.
He always shows up to go raise his hands and stuff like that. That's why it was so great when Chuck Schumer got caught in New York with some lady just screaming at him, and she's like, "I'm not leaving."
Congratulations. So proud and happy.
They're walking to the stage.
Cory Bush.
Boy, oh boy. You guys are fabulous.
We are hopeful that it is what will help 11 million people stay in their homes, 6 million families to be secure in housing, where those children will be able to start school in the next few weeks and not have to worry about where they're going to sleep.
This is a huge victory for working families. This is a huge victory for the vulnerable, and it is a huge victory for the power of direct action and not taking no for an answer.
So what is the disconnect here? Why does she believe you have the power to extend the moratorium, but the administration is arguing you don't?
Well, I would say that on this particular issue, the President's not only kicked the tires, he has double, triple, quadruple checked. He has asked the CDC to look at whether you could even do targeted eviction moratorium that just went to the counties that have higher rates, and they as well have been unable to find the legal authority for even new targeted eviction moratoriums.
We're learning that your administration is about to announce a new partial eviction moratorium, COVID-related. Can you tell us any more about that, and are you sure it's going to pass Supreme Court muster?
The answer is twofold. One, I've sought out constitutional scholars to determine what is the best possibility that would come from executive action or the CDC's judgment. What could they do that was most likely to pass muster constitutionally? The bulk of the constitutional scholarship says that it's not likely to pass constitutional muster, number one. But there are several key scholars who think that it may, and it's worth the effort. So I don't want to get ahead. The CDC has to make this. I asked the CDC to go back and consider other options that may be available to them. You're going to hear from them what those other options are. I have been informed they're about to make a judgment as to potential other options. Whether that option will pass constitutional measure with this administration, I can't tell you. I don't know. There are a few scholars who say it will, and others who say it's not likely to. But at a minimum, by the time it gets litigated, we'll probably give some additional time while we're getting that $45 billion out to people who are, in fact, behind in the rent and don't have the money.
So it's not even a sure thing.
Oh my God, ladies and gentlemen, how long are you going to let this friggin' hustle go on? I mean, this is just disgusting. Like, I don't even know what to say. I mean, I don't even know what to say. It's so easy for them to go out there and mandate masks right away, but now you're going to say that the CDC has to make the decision on whether people can stay in their house? Well, which is it? Are we under serious medical problems that can be infected?
Right.
Or, I mean, I don't even know at this point, but it's disgusting that we've got to the point that I had to get to the midnight hour before anything was done. And guess what? We still haven't had a solution. We've just simply kicked the can down the road. There is no solution.
Yeah. It just doesn't seem like it's valid. And you know, I just wanted to point out something that Danny Haifong said that I think is important, because he said, I was an activist before I started journalism. I'm always suspicious of powerful people in Congress when they claim to represent us. Cori Bush is no different. Let's be clear. A targeted eviction moratorium is still a loss. No one should be claiming victory right now. And I 100% agree with that, because it's a targeted eviction moratorium. It only includes, by the way, guys, in case you didn't know, places with high COVID rates.
Yep.
Yeah,
so
90%. So what about the 10%, right? What about them? And it's like you guys said, it's just kicking the can down the road. Like, it's postponing the inevitable, which is like all this suffering that's going to that these people are going to face because of everything that they owe.
100%. And Jonny, did you want to show this video right here?
Well, yeah, speaking of activists, real quick, Max Blumenthal interviewed some activists on the ground that were different than those staffers, right? Than the 20 staffers he had. And here's what they had to say.
So when I talked to AOC, I'd asked her a bunch of different questions about like the organizing strategy on the ground, how we're actually going to get some of our progressive policies pushed through, considering that most of them are at 67% approval nationally. Like, what is the steps forward? And she had basically told me that, number one, she said that she was like, she might leave Congress and go be a grassroots organizer again because it doesn't really seem like much change might come out of here. Number two, I asked her like how she would feel about moving power to a third party and not moving within the party. And she said that it's a viable option, but politician answer, we can't do that because we don't want to piss off the entire.
And you said she brought up forced the vote on her own.
Yeah, well, that was, a few news. Yeah, I think she mentioned that she is reviewing the Fred Hammond Leftist podcast, and then you mentioned that you have been critical of her, but even up here. So, but then she she was talking about some of the criticisms of that being that it was like the day before, as well as something about the National Nurses Union not being on board with that. That was her explanation.
Yeah, I do want to fact check that.
Yeah, I mean, there was a town hall well before, as well as a lot.
I've heard that talking point before myself.
Yeah, no, she said something about the timeline because there was that force to vote protest that had come here the day before the speaker's vote. And she said that they didn't know anything about force to vote until before then. I do need to fact check the timeline, but I'm pretty sure that Justin Jackson and all of them were talking about that way before.
Yeah, there was discussion in advance.
Yeah, she lied. I mean, I think I made a tweet about that. There was Justin Jackson started out Jimmy Dore. Then she complained about their tweets and about how that was violence. And then there was a town hall. There was multiple posts about having a force to vote, months like ahead of that. Like, she knew about it. Yeah.
We almost all got arrested for that thing. All of us here in this room and Franco on screen. It was right in front of her offices and stuff. They knew about it.
She moved the goalpost too, Franco, because then she also had said that it was symbolic too. That she didn't do it because it was symbolic, but she had no reason doing a symbolic impeachment on Donald Trump, and she had no reason on doing a last-minute stint here when it came to the eviction moratorium. So she's obviously being a hypocrite here, moving goalposts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like the reason why they say it's symbolic is because if there's going to be some people that vote yes just because they know it's just for show and they know it's going to die. I'm like, okay, so then they're doing the right thing for the wrong reasons.
Right.
Imagine if there's like enough people that are just doing it just because I want to look good, and then like it passes, right? At least they did the right thing and we were getting it, right? It makes absolutely no sense. Like, they come up with the most ridiculous excuses that their PR team tells them to come up with.
Yeah, and I don't think politicians are like the way they are now should be the way they are. I mean, they're public servants. They shouldn't have PR people. They should just be themselves and respond to the public themselves.
Yeah. Well, the Democratic plan, and we've learned this the hard way, is always just to avoid any confrontation whatsoever. Jimmy Gomez, who was there, was supposed to come to a debate. He didn't debate. He won't debate people. Nancy Pelosi won't debate people. It took forever to get Debbie Wasserman Schultz to debate Tim Canova one time because it's part of their plan. Stay in a comfortable environment, where it's going to be controlled and you can keep your narrative intact without getting hard questions from the people out there. You can just tell from the expressions on people's faces when we were in that room for the DNC convention, in the California convention. Like, you can tell it was like, oh shit,
when we asked
this is not a controlled environment here. What are they going to ask me? So, that's the whole thing, and that's why they have their PR people out there all the time running defense. Okay, that's enough questions right now. All right, that's it. I'll give you a card.
They're like walking corporations because corporations have their PR team.
Exactly.
They're like, this is this bad thing happened because of blah, 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 blah. Like, that's what they have.
Yeah. Go ahead.
What do you think can happen if more people from the grassroots activist world come out?
I think that the demands would be more aggressive, and we shouldn't be asking for an extension to the moratorium. We should be asking for canceling rent. That
was the original protest at the beginning of the pandemic. We did a car caravan around that with PSL. It was cancel the rent.
So I just think that having more grassroots voices out here, having more radical voices out here, more people that aren't scared of the Democratic establishment out here to kind of push them farther to the left will be very helpful. They're all out here. They're very accessible. Like, you can talk to them, and they do listen to what the hell you have to say.
And unless you ask the wrong question, which I did. But they should be asked.
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned, she asked about the canceling rent, and she was talking about the legislative process. I mean, and she also said that they wanted to put more pressure directly on President Biden himself.
Yeah.
And I think a great way to do that would not, because she also said that the extending the eviction moratorium would be the bare minimum. I personally think they should. I think if you go to the American Prospect Executive Action Tracker, there are like still 50 executive orders that Biden could do but chooses not to on a daily basis. He could cancel all student debt. He could, using the pandemic as a public health emergency, he could extend Medicare eligibility to every single American. Lots of labor, lots of antitrust, lots of police reform, lots of climate action he could do. Extending the eviction moratorium is the bare minimum when really there's lots that Biden could do, and we need to take advantage of this moment to have him do that.
That's the thing, and that's what Bernie Sanders failed to answer when in that interview with Crystal Ball. She was like, but he could do these things, and he was like, no, it's not. Yes, he could. Like, he could literally do all these things. I mean, either it's a pandemic and it's a crisis, and you need to provide people for a crisis, or it's not a pandemic and it's not the crisis you said it is, but you just made it into a crisis, and now either way you need to provide. So what the hell is it? Because these people, like, if you really care about people getting sick, why not give them health care? If you really care about people getting sick, why not cancel their rent? Like, cause so they don't go out in the streets and get like, they're talking out of both sides of their mouth, and it's very obvious. Like, you know, young activists can easily point that out.
Yeah. It's not the mouth that both sides they're talking out of right there. I know Frank can tell you what both sides of what they're talking out of right now. And you got this thing here from the Guillotine Party, right? So AOC said in that first clip that we watched in the beginning of this segment, we started 9 hours ago, that we've been talking about this for months. We've been mentioning this stuff, you know, and everything like that. But what is this here, fam?
She, if you go and you search AOC's tweets on eviction moratorium, you can't find any. The last one was from March of 2020. Yeah. So that's it. And then now she's talking about it now, a full year and a half, almost a year and a half later. It's crazy to me that, you know, that like somebody that's like, oh yeah, I'm fighting for this, all of a sudden just begins talking about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you make of that, Franco?
Yeah, our problems are not going to be solved with electoral politics, and if these people are really about it, they would know that.
Yep.
They would know that if they're truly going to be representing the people, then they're going to have to be writing these legislations that are going to be appear as though they're impossible to pass, but at least they're representing us. At least they're not representing these corporations. And so just do what you can if you're in that position to expose how Congress and everybody in government isn't there serving the people. They're there serving the corporations. And then that should engender movements that are going to work outside of politics. Like, we're going to have these people's backs. Like, if they don't get reelected because, you know, Nancy Pelosi is going to endorse their opponent, and like all these other politicians will endorse their opponent, and the primaries are going to be rigged against them since our elections are privately owned, we're still going to have their back. We're still going to see them as a leader that is authentic and not really just in it for their career and to secure themselves.
Yeah. And, you know, it's crazy because I just want to show this, wrapping up this segment, Franco, and thank you for being here, was that Cori Bush, and you put this out there too. Cori Bush sent a text message, right? Saying, it's Cori Bush on Friday night. I came to the Capitol. I refuse to accept Congress going on vacation while 11 million people face eviction. For 5 days we push. Now the POTUS announced a moratorium extension, but we must keep working. Can you donate to support us? And there you go.
Give us money.
Right. So again, so now she gets to ask for donations, and it's just, to me, I'm just so done with electoral politics. It just shows you that they're hoodwinking people, that they're trying to reinvest people into believing in the two-party system through the squad as this whole new progressive faction that can help us, when really we need to be invested in direct actions coming from the working class, not coming from politicians. So Franco, thank you so much for what you did. Please let anybody else know anything else you want to say, or where they can find you and what's coming up for you.
Yeah, I'm naturally like a really introverted guy, but I think what's more important, like my drive to inform people, just overpowers that introvertedness. And like, if you're ever in a situation like that where there's like a whole bunch of people that are eating up BS, that are brainwashed, don't be afraid to speak the truth. They're gonna like lash out on you, but that's just them trying to comfort themselves because they're comfortable with that illusion of a reality. But it's just that it's an illusion. And I could sense that in a lot of people. Like when I would like respond to them very quickly, like they're like, they would just like stay thinking about it a little bit.
Yep.
Like, for example, like there was that one girl, like she was just like, after everything I was saying, I was like, why do you think that AOC didn't have an answer? And then like, she just like was like staying like that. And then the other girl that was like calling out me, that was trying to call me and Max Blumenthal out, she's like, I think what they're doing is admirable. It's just like they're then thinking in themselves, trying to self-reassure that illusion that they want to stay comfortable with. So just try to be understanding of them, like how they're just been brainwashed, because the whole country's been brainwashed. And they've been brainwashed to think that it's the other team that's their enemy. You got to help them wake up to the reality that it's these politicians and the corporations that pay them that are their enemy. So don't be afraid to call that out. Like there was a lot of people there that went up to both Colin and I and were saying, thank you for saying that. And that's because they were afraid to receive the backlash that we got. So there's going to be other people that are going to summon up the bravery if you go ahead and do it first. Because when I started calling out AOC, that's when Colin summoned up his courage to say something. He's also a very nice and shy guy. And it was so disingenuous to see like Cori Bush just like turn around and like just like wave her hand at her own people. But yeah, just don't be afraid, guys. These people need to know the truth, and at the very least, it'll stay in their subconscious and they'll start questioning things. You can find me on Twitter at B43Franco, and I'm also on Odyssey, YouTube, and Rokfin. And my channel is called Frank Analysis with a C.
All right, Franco, thank you so much for coming on, guys. Check out Franco. He's been doing great work, Johnny.
Frank the King. Thanks for going out there, brother.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. You guys were an inspiration.
Man, thank you, brother.
All the
we love you.
Information that you guys gave me.
You know,
out there with the camera.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of respect, brother.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of courage to do that, especially in an environment like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is what I'm talking about, fam. We're building. This is what I'm talking about. We had Kobe, we got Franco.
Yep.
And Mad Max, man. Well, you guys just really, I mean, you guys, this is big that you guys did this. Really, it's a small ripple, but it's going to get bigger. More people are going to see your videos, see us calling the squad out. We've been doing this, all of us, for how long right now? And you just proved it. I mean, right there, just their actions, what Cori Bush did, what AOC did, you know, and I still think the laughing in AOC's face is one of the best. You went, ha ha!
The one thing I will say that worries me, though, and I said this at the end of my stream yesterday, is what if now they're gonna have like more of a lookout on people who who do citizens journalism? Because if you look at the Craig Murray case in the UK at the end, like they ruled that like the Supreme Court gets to choose who's actually a journalist and who isn't.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we just have to be careful about that and resist any form of this censorship, because these journalists that they choose are just going to be journalists that are approved by corporations.
Yeah. And they did that for the election. Remember, only the AP was allowed to call stuff. They'd be shutting down channels if you're not a real news channel. And Craig Murray's is a great example. But here's the thing, Franco. I think you inspired a lot of people. Look what Kobe did last week and stuff. You're going to inspire more people. So what we need for people to do is get out their cameras, get them ready, get your questions ready, and pressure these people. So if they take one of us down or they spot us, there's Franco, let's run interference. There's the Convo Couch, run interference. Let's get somebody else. Let's get a body on Max Blumenthal. There'll be 3 or 4 other people to take our place. That's what we need. Not the Karens on the steps over there screaming at people. That was from the movie Goodfellas, by the way.
God. Someone said that TYT is showing my videos now and criticizing me.
Oh. Hey.
Oh my God.
Well, Ryan Grimm's already critisized you, you know. So
you're on there, you know, keep doing what you're doing, Franco. You're pissing the right people off.
I hit a nerve.
We'll hit many more, buddy. We'll see you soon in DC, brother, okay?
Can't wait to see you guys again.
Thank you, Franco.
We love you, brother.
We love you. Bye.
Peace.
Woo.
Damn. That was a nice conversation.
That was a short topic.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's great. We have a lot of people on here. We have 114 people on.
We haven't done a show in like 5 days. That's why.
Yeah, but we have almost 600 people on YouTube. We have over 114 people on Rokfin. So please keep it going. We love you. Brian Fauci, or is it Brian Fauci? I don't know. Fauci. It's spelled a little bit different. He says, word is that a handful of protesters showed up at the Capitol steps today, but police kicked them out since no Congress members were there. I went by at noon, and there was no protesters. That's Brian Fauci.
Wow.
So you can just see like it's a protected environment. Just shows you it was all theater, family. Gabrielle Akari says, keep up the good work. Regards from Sweden. Thank you so much over there in Sweden. Reeve Barker, thank you for the Super 8 contribution. It is always appreciated on the couch. We got 113, 114 people watching on the Rokfin. Get over now if you can. No more donations. Thank you so much. This is big props for Franco for asking legit questions of these politicians. It's a complete shame that a lot of self-appointed gatekeepers with much larger followings on syndicated shows, and he put in the quotations redacted now, etc., keep punching down on people like Franco who are keeping the politicians accountable. If you want a good laugh, check out my interaction with one of the guys from Redacted Now on Twitter last night. Hey, put the link in there so we can find it. We'll take a look. Thank you so much. No more donations. It's always appreciated on the couch. Margaret, careerist. All of them pieces of shit. Careerist, fams.
Yep.
They just want to make a career out of this. OG North American 8 left another Super 8 contribution. We love you, OG. You got to send a picture of the shirt we sent you. Styling for us so we can put it on our calendar. Shout out to Franco for being brave enough to do what a lot of us in indie media won't do. And that's the thing. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, you got to always be ready. You got to get there. I'll never forgive myself for slipping on Debbie Wasserman Schultz. You got to be ready, because if you get a chance to get in front of these people's faces with a microphone, you got to take advantage of it, because remember, they're protected. They don't want that. So you got to be ready. Citizen journalist, especially in the context of saying on the ball, because while folks want to heap praise at the squad, did anything actually get solved? No. Are people actually in the clear? No. It's like using Derek Chauvin to pacify folks. Meanwhile, there's even worse cases of police brutality happening. And you're right. Nothing is really solved. Did we pull the budgets away from these people? No. They're still militarized as can be. They're still investigating themselves. We didn't get reform, but since they throw Chauvin in jail, everybody thinks that's okay. Yep. It's symbolic. You've been saying this for a while, fam. This is Malari15. Thank you for the Super 8 contributions. Dems have no agenda. AOC's version of climate change is to use human engineering people to stir up chaos, which leads to authoritarianism government. Fraud squad explanation played us. No remorse for Nina's loss. The eviction save will backfire for the people and homeowners when BlackRock come up to buy up all those houses waiting on the Fed bailout. And that's the truth. They gave them all this money, and now they're going up buying stuff so we can't buy houses. Then what, Fraud Squad? Done with the Dems? Third party is needed. Kamshwari Kate, thank you so much for the Super 8 contribution. By the way, that was Malari15. Kamshwari Kate, we love you. Always a long-time listener, follower. What the hell happened there? I lost my thing. Sorry. Cortez is doing direct action, but they forgot to invite the people.
Exactly.
Fam, they invited their staff. They invited their friends.
Right.
Direct action without inviting the people. Roar Media, Sister Brother Fee, Johnny Franco are examples in courage, honor, and integrity. Thank you for all your dedication to the truth and holding the performative con artist accountable. We are the true family of change and support. We are honored to be part of this community, and we are honored to have you guys, Oz, Shanda, Amber, all those people over there at Roar Media. We love you. Thank you so much very much for the love you give us. Marlene Smith left the Super 8 contribution, fam. It is always
Marlene.
Appreciate it on the couch, but she did another Super 8 right there because she wanted that. She says, fuck Israel. We all agree. But shut the fuck up and don't talk about it. Apply pressure to politicians. But no, not those politicians. What are you doing? Right. Thank you, Franco, for the great hard work and helping expose the theatrics. Shadow ban refugee, fam. There's your ban. Bruno, fucking fearless. Franco is my ride or die dog. That's how he would say it. That's how Paulie talks.
Holy shit. TYT saying harassing Corey is what they're calling.
Wow.
Oh, show a little bit of this real quick here. Look at this.
Hold on.
Oh, my
fucking
Lord.
liars, pieces of shit.
Hey, they never asked Franco for permission for that.
Yeah.
He needs to go find a lawyer.
No.
Oh, let's see about this.
On their refusal to directly confront Pelosi, and then he says that he asked Cori Bush about it. Okay. Kristen Mink continues to write, the conversational pattern. Guy Lobb's accusatory question, why won't you or didn't you do X, Y, or Z? Members respond with detailed info. Guy Lobb's same accusatory question as if nothing was said. It was ridiculous and distracted from the urgent issue we were there for, housing. Now, I'm not sure if she's specifically referring to Nick Brana in the first tweet in this thread, or if she's talking about Max Blumenthal. She quote tweeted Max Blumenthal, which goes along with the same narratives that Nick Brana, the head of the Movement for a People's Party, has. But what's fascinating is if you look at other videos of the several days that this protest was taking place on the Capitol steps, you'll see Max Blumenthal harassing people, causing trouble, and making it all about him instead of the people who were facing eviction during a global pandemic. Let's watch.
Look at you. You work for Congress. You work for the most violent institution on earth.
You defend the Chinese genocide.
You defend the State Department. You defend the most violent institution on the planet.
There's no genocide.
Yeah, Max Blumenthal's wife and child in the background. She's like urging him to stop because it's so incredibly embarrassing.
What kind of name?
And you know, he talks about Congress being the most violent organization. I mean, Max Blumenthal is the son of Sid Blumenthal, a longtime Hillary Clinton advisor and aide. Including when Hillary Clinton was in the US Senate. So I don't know, maybe Max Blumenthal has firsthand experience with just how violent Congress really is. But I do find it questionable that he has now dedicated all of his time to harassing progressive members of Congress, the very people who are literally on our side on the very issues that we care most about, while ignoring the depravity, the cruelty, the viciousness of the Republican Party. I mean, you want to focus on corporate Democrats. You want to hold them accountable. Awesome. I just find it super strange that people like Max Blumenthal, Jimmy Dore are hyper-focused on incessantly harassing progressive members of Congress. And of course, Nick Brana as well, who again is the head for the Movement for a People's Party.
Wow.
They're so exposed themselves, man. They're exposing themselves because the Indian media, which has 1/3 the budget, not 1/3, 1/300th of the budget that the team that you're on.
By the way.
Because they're on your side, the progressive people that you're talking about, because you got a check for $25 million from Jeffrey Katzenberg and stuff. And we know whose side you're on.
And they still beg their fucking followers for
money.
Imagine even with Blumenthal, Gray Zone, Franco, Jimmy Dore, they still don't have the TYT budget. That where was TYT?
Yeah.
Where is TYT at all ever? And you notice how they criticize anybody they deem anti-Democratic Party, right? I don't have to be a fan of Nick Brana to say he represents an organization outside the Democratic Party. He represents Movement for the People's Party. Jimmy Dore criticizes the squad. Max Blumenthal criticizes the squad. She says you can only go after corporate politicians, not including the squad. So the squad, because they don't take corporate money, even though Robbie Receipts will tell you there are other ways, because they don't take corporate money like that, it means like they're not corporate. Actually, the Justice Democrats in the brand new Congress are a form of a PAC. So you can't say that it's not just because it doesn't work that way anymore, because they've learned how to play the game. They learned how to grift people for money to say that they're not corporate, and then they end up doing the same thing that these corporate Democrats do. So it's almost worse because they're taking money from working class people and advocating that they're going to fight for these issues and pointing out, saying that, Blumenthal was making it about himself and talking about Franco just, harassing these people. She's saying they're harassing. They're not harassing. They're demanding answers. Answers that we should all be demanding. Why did this take this long? Why aren't you going after Pelosi? What's next? What are you going to do about after this happens? Like, this is the minimum, the bare minimum. Biden could pass this. They're asking the right questions. When has Anna gave two shits about the working class or unhoused people? Was she at any of the events we've covered in the last few months?
They're in LA.
Not only that,
we never see that.
Her fucking donors are invested in real estate developers.
Yeah.
They're like, that's where they get their money from.
Yes.
That's how dare you?
Katzenberg,
talk
was
about
pushing for that, fam.
Not just Katzenberg, but like the other, I forget his fucking name.
I know who you're talking
about. But
Pierre
he was,
Odemeyer or whatever his name is.
They are invested in LA real estate. And this is why TYT, she just did, Johnny, where is that segment where she literally just talked about NIMBYs? She
It's
literally
on my
just,
Twitter. Yeah.
She literally just gave us the not in my backyard argument about the unhoused being drug addicts and all and criminals. She has the audacity to say, "Oh, these people are being evicted."
Yeah.
When has Anna Kasparian lifted a fucking finger to fight for anybody but herself? I mean, like, seriously.
Yeah. Well, we're doing the job that you used to do before you got that money, right? The job you should be doing. And we're embarrassing you on it. Not only the fact that you can't even send your own reporters out there, that you have to use our footage from January 6th. You got to use Franco's footage. Like, you can't even get people out there to the spot to go out there and do the work that you guys were supposed to be doing from the get-go. Because why? You've become corporate media. And here she is, Anna. Now, we're talking about Jeffrey Katzberg, the protest that we just went to, that we talked to people in the streets, interviewing people while the thing was going on. Her boss, her donor, her benefactor, right, was out there pushing against this right now because he's a real estate mogul here in L.A. Look what's going on. Look, this is primo radical. Watch this.
I do think that there are progressives, I don't know if it's progressive policy, but progressives in places like California who have made terrible decisions. And so one of those terrible decisions is essentially doing away with anti-camping laws, right? Allowing people to camp out wherever they want, whenever they want. And if, like, we have a homeless problem in California. We have it all throughout the country, but it's particularly bad in California. And so the argument is, well, if there isn't public housing available for people, they should be allowed to camp out. Okay, but there's also a problem right now where there is public housing available and individuals will say, no, I don't want to take it. I don't want to follow the rules in the public housing. And so as a result, I would rather camp out. Progressive lawmakers are like, we should allow them to camp out. And you know what happens? Crime happens. Open air drug markets happen, and it's the truth. These are the facts of the matter. In fact, it was addressed in this Daily Beast article, and honestly, it was cathartic to read it because everyone denies that this is happening.
Johnny, how many times did you see TYT at Echo Park when you were out there?
Never. And
Zero.
She references Daily Beast, who Chelsea Clinton is on the board of.
Yeah.
And she's talking about how Max Blumenthal's dad is whatever, Clintons and shit. Whatever.
Yeah, I know, right?
This is so much hypocrisy in those fucking people.
No, Jonathan, we Project Roomkey, like Project Roomkey. Anna, you wouldn't know this because you don't actually talk to these people.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be caught dead.
Yeah.
But these people don't accept those public housing because it is basically like carceral. They feel like they're in prison. They have the human right to feel like a human being. That's one of the main things that people unhoused people talk about. They want to feel human again. They want to be treated like regular people, not like pointed at as being drug addicts and criminals like she's doing right now.
Right.
And she has the audacity to say, well, they don't want it. It's not that they don't want it. They don't want to be told what to do. They can't be late for any time at all, and during Project Roomkey, they don't get a key to their own room. They don't get to visit each other.
Nope.
They
took the ice machines out of the fucking last hotel.
You wouldn't know that, Anna, though. You wouldn't know that because you don't talk to these people. You have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. But you have the audacity to say, "Oh, that's criminal. There's crime and blah blah blah." And it's so obvious that this is why. It's because the money that they're getting comes from these real estate developers. Pieces of fucking shit. These people have zero integrity. The young cucks. And by the way,
fucks.
Middle-aged fucks. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Guys, my mom's going to say stop using cucks and fucks.
But it's just like, seriously though? Like, I cannot. She is such a NIMBY.
Yeah, and do your own work. Stop stealing our shit. Get your own people out there. We're embarrassing
She can't even do her own
budget.
She can't even do her own work right because she doesn't know what she's talking about. Like, what would you want to be told when to come home?
Exactly.
Who to see? Like where? Like how to live your life? Like nobody wants to live restricted like that.
Exactly.
So yeah. Guess what? If they don't want that, they should be allowed to say, you know what? We don't want that. We should provide housing as a human right.
Yes.
And healthcare.
And healthcare. Because guess where that mental illness is coming from?
And if we've ever needed a jobs program, If we've ever needed a jobs program, it's like Phoenix said, he goes, why don't you just give these people housing, provide them a job to go clean up this area? There's so much trash and dirt and stuff like that.
Yep.
Give them a few bucks, so let them feel human again.
Exactly.
The reason why a lot of people ended up in the streets is because we don't have jobs out here. 80% of people live paycheck to paycheck. You know what I'm saying? And you want to talk about the mental health issue, you want to talk about the drug issue and stuff like that. Well, let's provide some solutions. Not just say we can't do that because it's drugs and no, provide solutions. We have the resources and we're not tapping into it.
We created the drug problem as well. So.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Jesus
the young
Christ.
folks.
Oh yeah, and real quick, I just want to point out that their title says TYT Live. Everyone wants Cuomo out, and fake progressives attack Cori Bush.
Fake leftists. We got fake progressives, fake leftists. We got, you know what I'm saying?
Harassing
If
Cori.
anybody's a fake, it's you. Fugazi.
I think they go into Franco's here.
Yeah, I think they do.
Let's see.
That third-party venture, which I'll get back to in just a second. Now, with that said, there were unfortunately others who have taken part in harassing Cori Bush and other progressive lawmakers as they're fighting to ensure that people don't get kicked out of their homes. Here's another example.
Everyone keeps asking, what should we do now? We're going to keep here. We're going to stay here until the rest of the work gets done.
We're not buying the theatrics. We're not buying the theatrics.
Wait, you're just one person.
No, I'm not one person. My man right there. We have 137 people watching.
137
yes.
people. Damn.
More than TYT.
I think what they're doing is horrible, and I think that
what do you mean, what was I doing? Informing people. You think I shouldn't inform people?
Yelling isn't
How am I trolling?
Because you're asking irrelevant questions.
How is it irrelevant that they're using money? How is it irrelevant that they're using money for wars when they could be giving money to the homeless? They voted for it. They voted to increase the budget for Israel.
No, they voted against it.
How much?
You don't even know what you're talking about.
I know what I'm talking about.
Research before you go out.
They increased the budget for Israel in apartheid state.
At home.
They increased the budget for an apartheid state.
No idea what you're talking about.
I know more than you. I know more than you.
It's not a contest. Go home and
it's not a contest.
Then do your YouTube channel at home. You didn't do any research.
And of course they did no research. Going after progressive lawmakers like Cori Bush for voting for more war? There's no evidence of that. You look at Cori Bush's record and it's the opposite of what that clown boy was alleging in that video. And I also find it fascinating that they're accusing Cori Bush of doing nothing essentially. It's just political theater. When in reality, the whole force the vote movement was about political theater. I mean, that was part of the argument. No, we know that it's not going to pass. We know that they'll hold the floor vote. We know that they won't pass it. But it's important to A, understand which Democratic lawmakers are not in favor of Medicare for all, which is something we already know. But B, once they vote it down, we'll cause a spectacle. We'll cause a spectacle, everyone, because left-wing media is so powerful that will cause a spectacle over a failed Medicare for all floor vote, and then we'll somehow magically get our way. So that would have been theater that would have failed.
All right,
but the theater that Cori Bush engaged in worked because it was strategic and it was smart. What she did materially benefited people's lives. Yes, we need more. There's no question about that.
Oh
Jesus
my
Christ.
God, this one makes me so nauseous.
Look
at her face.
First of all,
just leave it there.
First of all,
just leave it there. Look at her.
The way she refers to Franco. First of all, Franco even clarified on his Twitter. He said, I didn't specifically name Cori Bush. I said they, meaning the squad, because the squad, not Cori Bush, the rest of the squad did vote to give Israel money. They did vote. They did. And you know what else they voted for? They voted for the police. They voted present. Yeah. And then two of them I think voted actually for it. And then of course the police for the police passed, money to give more money to the state agencies. That passed too. Like Franco is right in his critiques of the squad members. He's right in saying that this is theater. The thing with force to vote is it would have exposed to so many people why the whole contingent of progressives aren't voting for Pelosi. That's the difference that it would have done during a pandemic. These people would have had to deny healthcare. That's what she's not explaining to people. That it's not. It may not have given us healthcare for all, but it would have exposed the country in the middle of a pandemic to people saying, no, you don't get healthcare, but please take this vaccine. That would have been actually far better. And again, if it was supported by the squad and there would have been direct actions, they would have joined people in DC at Force to Vote. That would be something. Yeah. Challenging the status quo. When the police aren't, when you are a threat to the status quo, the police aren't there protecting you. You are a threat to the status quo. That's not what happened here. Yeah. That is purely theatrical for the benefit of who? Oh, please donate to Cori Bush. Please donate to AOC. Please donate to the squad. We need more of them. See how this works? They want you reinvested in the illusion of the two-party duopoly. That's why people like Anna are there. They're narrative managers for AOC, for the squad, for these politicians, because the only way now that they realize they can get people isn't by supporting, these blue dog type of Democrats like Pelosi and Schumer and all of that. It's by making you think that the squad is any different. Yeah. And they're not. And that's even more dangerous because people fall for that bullshit. And then you have narrative managers like TYT smearing actual journalists that go on the ground and ask questions and don't just sit on their ass in their fucking fancy studio and don't do the work. That's the difference.
And I love the warmonger Anna, who, interviews Madeleine Albright, gives her softballs after softballs, been pro-intervention in Syria, whatnot, going to sit there and try to defend the squad as if they've been anything close to anti-imperialist. They have not. They have not at all. Even fucking AOC would all defer to the caucus leadership for Venezuela. So she's okaying regime change. She tried to both sides of the Cuba situation, right? She does this all the time. These people are not anti-imperialist. In fact, they'll back down and they won't call out Biden for his imperialist moves. They won't do it. So don't give me this shit, Anna, that Cori Bush, they didn't do their work, this clown boy. No. These guys have been pro-imperialist since they've got into office, period. And rubbing elbows with Adam Schiff.
And Chuck Schumer.
And Jimmy Gomez. And all these other people. Get the hell out of here, Anna. TYT is just done. Just done. Heather, thank you for the Super Ray contribution. She says, the whole empty symbolism of the Dems is like what you would find in church. It's the new religion, guys. Shadowban Refugee says, if you cancel someone's job, you better cancel their rent, you fucking lockdown czars. That was my Pauly imitation. Marlene Smith, thank you for the Super Ray contribution. How dare you punch up, Franco? You're supposed to punch down. Duh. And your tone and your questions are too violent, Franco. Jeez. Marlene, I hope I did that Super Ray some justice. David Guevara. What's up, David? Glad you're joining the party. Great job, Franco. Awesome job, Franco. Benny Massimo, you nailed it. Thank you so much, Benny Massimo. We love you. Teresa Aland, or Aland. Thank you for the Super Ray contribution. It is always appreciated on the couch. Mary Hale is here. I talked to Cori at the Medicare for All in March. I asked why she was there. Just saw it on Twitter, and she said she may want to check her staff since Joy had reached out to her multiple times. It was a photo op for her. Thank you, Mary. Tea Leaves, thank you for the Super Ray contribution. Oh boy, I would love to see Fee in the room with Anna. Fee would take her down. It's never going to happen. Listen, these people are going to avoid us. They can't argue on the merits of what's going on. All they can do is smear people. That's it. They're smear merchants.
Fucking calling Franco clown boy when she's fucking just stuck in her studio doing fucking nothing.
And they're around the corner, Johnny.
They're literally here. Literally here.
I will go to her studio.
Not even sending people on the ground.
Nothing,
dude. They got millions of dollars.
And they do nothing.
How are we doing it more? How are we doing more? This is fucking crazy.
Yep. And they got to steal our footage. Carrie Mark, don't give TYT any air. Smoother than a pile of poop, fam. Says Carrie Mark. Thank you, Carrie Mark.
Well, when they call our boy a clown, I gotta go say something to them. And when they start talking about unhoused people being criminals and drug addicts, when we have some friends that are unhoused, I mean, I think I have to get at Anna's bullshit for that.
I mean, those are like, And I hate to say this too as well. Those are like right-wing talking points, like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, and if that's what you want to be, that's okay, man. If you want to be a right-winger or an independent-minded person, but you're going to sit there and say you're a progressive left, and you're not going to understand the nuance of what's going on in the fucking streets, that we haven't provided the opportunity for these people to get off the streets, that we've essentially pushed them on the streets, that we have 80% of people in America working paycheck to paycheck, and we're one step away from being on the streets. And you want to say, oh, there's open drug markets and whatnot and stuff like that, without even kind of factoring in the whole problem we have with mental health issues and stuff, and the drug problem we have, people dying in the streets of fentanyl and heroin and all these other things. And you want to just act like it's just a choice. Oh, well, we shouldn't let people pop up a tent whenever they want. They don't want to enter into the program. And like we said, fam, they don't even know what the program's about. We went and talked to the people who lived in that, what is it, lock and key program with no
Project
key?
Room Key.
With no key is what you said? You don't even know what the hell's going on, you idiot. And the last one, Robert Halam says, signing off now, past my bedtime, best wishes from Southeast London. Thank you, fam.
Thank you for watching us,
We
fam.
love you guys. Guys, we have over 126 people watching on the Rokfin. That is amazing. A ton of great donations today to help us get out in the street. Man, I wish we were at 547 people on YouTube, guys. We have one section on YouTube, and then we're going to go over to the Rokfin for the last one. But let's get this into this. Johnny, anything else to say before we go on? All right, fam, let's do it. Okay.
All right.
So, fam, guess who won last night? We had a special election in Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah.
Nina Turner, who raised twice as much money as Chantel Brown, which was always the question. You can't raise as much money as them. Well, she raised twice as much.
Yeah.
Guess what happened, fam?
She still lost.
She lost.
Yeah.
Okay. It has been officially called for Chantel Brown with 56% of the vote in. How? Well, they'll tell you they have a large sample size enough in which Nina can't catch Chantel at 56%. When will the progressives wake up and understand that the establishment steals elections? Fam, 56% of the vote is in and they call it. How could they do that, fam? How could they do that?
Well, Pasta, they have, these mechanisms which they can predict and do math and do these calculations, so they know way ahead of time who won. But I'm just wondering, does that apply to the general too?
Oh, that does apply to the general.
But then
too,
how
as well.
how come we didn't get results for days?
Oh,
the general.
Well, because even though the sizes of the leads were like this size, and it was over 60%, this is 56%, and they're going to tell you, well, we have that sample size, so we know that Nina can't catch Chantel, so therefore we can confidently call it for Chantel at 56%. And I've said this before from the get-go. We've said it on this network over here. It's not about Donald Trump and Joe Biden. It's not even about Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden. It's about grassroots candidates having the opportunity to get a fair election, right? To make sure that they can have the opportunity to get into office and fight for the people. But if we allow it to happen on any level, it's going to come back and bite us on the ass. Ladies and gentlemen, all those people who supported Nina Turner, now we have a plethora of reasons we can discuss, fam, that we have, out there. But does anybody even mention the fact that we have not been able to audit and look at these results, that we know that they're solid from a party that said they had the right to cheat? Do we? No.
But that's what I'm saying. If hypocritically, right? If you can say, oh, we can predict the results because we can predict she's going to lose because we can do math and see that the county's left, she won't be able to catch up. Why wasn't that done in the general? It was the opposite. They waited days and days, and they said, no, you can't do that this time. Oh, because of mail-in ballots and all these things. So you can't do that. You can't shift the rules depending on what's more convenient for you. And further, nobody is talking about this aspect because even if this election was fair, we don't know. We don't know. We can't say that in this country because we can't look into these machines. We can't look into the ballots. We can't have an audit beyond a 1% audit. We can't figure out, okay, well, who has an invested interest in doing something because a private company owns another private company of another private company. We don't have paper ballots to actually look back and audit something. Peru just had elections. They had questions. They did it. They looked it over. They found nothing. Okay, great. Yeah. But they were able to do that. We can't do that. We don't do that here in this country.
Yeah, sometimes we have paper ballots that still go through a tabulation machine. Sometimes we have direct voting where you just press a screen and whatever the results tell you, you have to accept. So it's just a crazy system. Let's read into the article real quick just to explain what happened last night. It said Chantel Brown has narrowly won the Democratic primary to replace Ohio U.S. Representative Marcia Fudge. according to the race call from the Associated Press. Once again, the Associated Press gets to call everything, making a victory for more moderate Democrats in a closely watched contest. Cleveland area voters chose Brown, the Cuyahoga County Democratic Party chair, which I called the county this morning to see about their processes as far as their audits and everything else, and a councilwoman over Nina Turner, a former Ohio State senator and co-chair of the Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders' 2020 presidential run, and a bevy of other candidates. Turner had jumped out to a money and early polling lead in Ohio's 11th congressional district and had a broader name recognition. Everybody knew who she was. She also secured the endorsement of leftists like Sanders and so-called squad members, including Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, and Cori Bush. Brown, meanwhile, had the backing of establishment favorites, including Hillary Clinton and House Majority Whip Jim Clyburn of South Carolina. So, fam, here we are. She was way more popular. She was known. Yep. She had more money.
She had a 35-point lead in the beginning.
Well, my question was, fam, did, in fact, because we were talking, let's put aside the election issues for a second, because we'll go over that and I'll explain some stuff and show you some lines of what they're using and what they're doing. I put the peak neoliberalism tweet you put up again. Did this, in fact, hurt her in Ohio? Do a lot of people, did they catch on to this whole kind of bullshit what the squad is in an area like Ohio where people might be more independent, a little bit more conservative on the blue side? Did this catch on, and did this affect her, hurt her, or help her?
I mean, I think it hurt her with her base, right? Like, yeah. I don't think it hurt her with the general population of Ohio who doesn't know, like, leftist politics, to be honest. But with her base, like with people who, let's say, I would have included us. I would have included like a bunch of other people that, you know, even if they weren't supportive of a Democratic candidate, might have made an exception and said, hey, we're going to support Nina Turner because she's actually walking the walk. She's out there, you know, doing direct action. She's forcing the vote, blah, 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 all these things. But instead, what she's been doing months ago is actually placating to the establishment. Placating to the whole Russiagate narrative, to the whole, oh no, force the vote was, you know, not good. We blah, blah, blah. She talked about, Medicare for All marches being a project. She told the Washington Post that she didn't show, she completely ignored it. She didn't show up. AOC and her completely ignored it and made an event that same day. I think it hurt her with the more like radical left that's like, hey, I want you to like go out and do direct actions and actually, you know, stand with the people, walk the walk and do these things. I think it hurt her with those people. Yep. It didn't hurt her with like the majority of people who don't know anything about those politics. So,
you know, she kind of referred to, like, she defended the squad saying they had a strategy.
Right.
And we have to get behind their strategy. But nobody was really clear about what the strategy was, because now we're here years later, we've gotten nothing. If we can't get Medicare for All in the middle of a pandemic, right, then we're never going to get it. And that's just the bottom line, in my personal opinion, because it's like people are dying and they're saying that they care for you. Why don't you use your leverage right now of all times to get Medicare for All? Or to, like Max Blumenthal said, say you're going to hold up all legislation. You have a block. You can hold it up unless Joe Biden takes out his pen and makes an executive order for something simple like decriminalizing marijuana. Right? Or something like that. I mean, but they're not doing it. They're not using any strategy. And in fact, they have exposed themselves by like the way they voted present in that bill. Mm-hmm. That's AOC, Jamal Bowman, and Ilhan Omar. They've exposed themselves to showing that they're working with the establishment and they're not pushing back against it. Now, the next clip I have up over here is because this is just interesting as can be, because this is something, and you have to explain this to me, fam. Because Nina Turner and a lot of other progressives are now going to say, oh, it was the dark money that came in late that cost Nina the seat. It was the dark money. What difference does it make if it's dark money, clean money, straight money? She raised twice as much money than Shontel Brown. How could that affect her just because it's dark money? They're looking at that angle. So here it is. This is from Status Quo. Interviewing Nina Turner on dark money.
I raised $6 million in this race. I was outperforming every other candidate in this race until that dark money came in, and I've raised more money individually. I think my race is a template for progressives in terms of how we raise that money. We got to get in, earlier. Not necessarily early. This is a special election. We just got to plan a little more. This is not an indictment on our movement. This is an indictment on dark money. Progressives shouldn't feel bad. Because until that evil money came in here, 35 points up, the only way they could have won is for dark money to come in here. We need real campaign finance reform in this country. It is a disservice to the voters to have special dark interests come in here and dictate who gets to win. If we let them win here, they're going to keep doing this kind of stuff all over the country.
Okay, explain that to me, fam. She raised twice as much money as Chantel Brown, but yet she's saying this specific allotted money, this dark money that came in for Chantel is what cost her her seat.
Because
I don't get that.
The dark money is a PAC that came in after. When she raised more money, that was direct. She was raising money because she also had a super PAC, by the way. But she raised money mostly. She outraised Chantel via mostly direct donations too. So when she's talking about dark money, she's talking about like super PAC money that came in after that was directed at ad revenue. So like a bunch of ads that were being thrown out. And so the whole idea that they have is like all these ads and dark money convinced people that Chantel was there because they saw her face more and they were outraised. Also, there was a critique on the ground organizing that it could have been better. Nina Turner decided to hire people from the Weaver contingent and the people that like the people here, I forget their names, but they're so irrelevant. The ones that sunk Bernie's campaign, she rehired a lot of those people against the advice of a lot of her supporters who were like, hey, don't hire them. Well, she did. So that can be blamed on that, right? There's many layers when somebody loses an election that it is. But to say it's dark money alone, like I'm going to go over Jordan Chariton's tweets, is false.
Yeah, it is totally false. Yeah. You know, that was one of the things. It was some people were saying it was the squad. Her relationship with Air wasn't enough to put her over the top, where she kind of took that side of the progressive movement that was split about like, we have to do this, we don't have to do this. A lot of people say it was the dark money that came in, you know, but we're still asking the question, well, what about the election itself? Why aren't you grabbing the cast vote records right off the bat and breaking down where the majority of the votes came in? Because I went to the website of the county, which is the Cuyahoga County Board of Elections right there, and I just started looking down. I said, okay, let me see what's going on right there. I'm looking down at and you can see this is their website, and I went down the current voting equipment, and I also went down to what the DS850 is, which will say, if you keep going down, Johnny, there it is. Right there. So all their equipments are owned by who? ES&S. ES&S has proprietary software on it, and you can just click onto the DS850, which is the one that counts their mail-in and their absentee ballots. I went to the actual ES&S website. The problem is we're not allowed to look into the machine to see how these ballots are counted. So whatever goes in, it's called black box voting. Whatever comes out, we have to accept. And we've been saying for how long? Well, we have to look at these things over here. We got to make sure that the ballots are okay. You know, we have to look at the cast vote records. Right now, there should be a quant looking over all the numbers of what's going on and saying, how do we lose this election? You have to really know for sure. And it's 9,000 ballots per what? Hour, Johnny, the small ones do? We're talking in this election, there's less than 80,000 votes, fam. It would cost less than $1 million to audit this vote.
Why aren't you demanding an audit, Nina?
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Why aren't your supporters demanding an audit? I mean, it doesn't hurt. If the election was fair, it'll show that.
Yeah.
If the election wasn't fair, though, it'll also show that. Why aren't you demanding an audit? Why aren't you talking about election integrity? She says, well, if they keep, doing this, they're going to keep doing it. Dark money. Yes, we got to get dark money out of politics, meaning we have to get these influential super PACs and these people, lobbyists, being able to just throw money at a candidate. Absolutely. I 100% agree. But that's not the only thing. That is one aspect of the unfair elections that we have, because that is an aspect of the unfair system in elections. This is why electoralism isn't the way, because we don't have a fair election system. So whether it's the money and the super PACs that outspend a candidate, whether you fix that, you're still going to have this. Yep. You're still going to have this fact that we can't tell you that it was or it wasn't a fair election because we don't know. Yep. That's the point. We don't know. You can't tell me that it's not rigged. The same way I can't tell you that it is rigged, but I can tell you that the fact that we don't have control over our elections makes it more likely to say, hey, maybe something went wrong here. We don't know. She was 35 points ahead. That's a lot.
Yeah,
that's a lot. For her
That's
to
almost
have,
impossible for the other person to catch up. And I made a tweet. It said, "Do you really trust the results of this special election? I still don't even know who Brown is. But let's let the elites tell you the establishment candidate was more popular. Why not demand an audit? Why trust proprietary software? Why trust a party that said they already had the right to cheat?" And my friend Robin Gibson, she put down below, she says, "Everyone reports that Nina lost without thinking about who counts the votes and how they were counted. Hint, in secret, inside a computer. The Democratic Party counts the vote in the primary, period. And you cannot verify that vote count to see if it was real or not.
You can't.
You have to see if it was real or not." And this is a person who's done extensive work in elections, Robin Gibson. Okay? So, I mean, and she's a Democrat. Right? She's a Bernie supporter. And that's why I've loved to find my heroes in this whole situation that are going to say, I don't care who it is. I'm not going to play team sports when it comes to elections. We still have proprietary software. We still have no audits. Why don't we hand count these things? I'll even agree to hand count the ballots if you want to get, if you're not going to get us open source software. I'd still like an open source software with a blockchain technology and verify that count hand counted. But that's the problem. And also the fact now Democrats have been duped, and so have progressives, to think that mail-in ballots are the best, most accessible way to get more participation in elections. No. No. You don't even know where the contract is.
You can get more participation, but you get, like, no security.
Zero. Combating this BS. I think this is
Did you have
Roblito.
something to say, Johnny? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a 2-in-1 tabulator.
There it is, Johnny.
So it's a scanner and tabulator. So that means that the scanner's the physical part. You know, it takes the ballot image, and then it puts it into the tabulation, the software in there, and the software there recognizes the voter intent. And it's just like the one in LA. And so there's all different ones from all different companies, but they're all basically the same thing, scanner and tabulator. And there's room there for fuckery to happen. It even says security features here, proprietary flash drives.
Yep.
And this is ES and S. They have audit logs, except
you're not allowed to see them.
Who can see those audit logs?
Right.
And then physical and system access controls. Yeah. Again, proprietary software and 2-in-1 machine. And I'm curious if the state legislate laws, election laws in Ohio allow I wonder if it's the same thing, if they counted early. Again,
yeah, right.
You know, that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm wondering if they scanned them through and just hit the button on election night, Johnny, so they knew where to cheat. And that's the thing. Like, we've been sounding the alarm for this stuff for so long. And what have we been saying? If you're going to allow this shit to happen to Donald Trump, guess what? Don't come crying to us when it comes back and bite you right in the ass.
And lo and behold.
Yeah, 35 points she was up, guys. 35 points. And then once again, they call it at 56% again.
And you just accept the results. All these progressives were like, oh, yeah, oh, she lost. Oh, my God. And they started blaming. What happened is they started blaming each other. The Humanist Report and the Jordan Cheritons of the world started blaming the YouTubers. Like, oh, people were paying attention to the Medicare for All March and blah, blah, blah. And if those people would have shown up and helped Nina Turner, then she would have won. And Robbie Yeager, of course, is dispelling this whole myth, right? Here it is. He says, well, all I did was point out how Mike's premise was not based in fact, and yet I'm the one he's mad at. So this is what Mike Figueredo said. He said, if you have a large podcast, cough, and you literally actively discourage your viewers from donating to Nina Turner when you knew how monetarily disadvantaged she was, you get to own this loss too. That DNC thanks you. Disempowerment politics will be the death of the left. And he said it should be noted that Nina Turner outraised Chantel Brown by more than double, 4.5 million to 2.1 million. Campaign donations had nothing to do with it. Again,
it's our
the
fault.
Direct campaign donations had nothing to do with it. I never discouraged people from not donating. I simply said, I am not giving money to anybody running as a Democrat anymore. I'm done with it. I'm done with electoral politics. It's not going to work. That's all I said. Jimmy Dore pretty much said the same thing. And that's who he's probably referring to, right?
Steph Zamorano said that.
Steph Zamorano.
She's there with us. I mean, I'm there.
I'm there too.
I'm not giving any money to any Democrats.
No, same.
Sorry.
Me neither. I don't even know if I'm giving any money to any candidates, period, at this point. Because, again, none of them are addressing election integrity. That's the thing. And so, he said if being wrong makes you that upset, you should have saved us both the trouble and performed an FEC search before you tweeted. Because that's the truth. It's all in the Robbie receipts. This is why I call him Robbie receipts, because it's all there.
And it's easy to do. You just go to fec.gov and you look up some shit. So there you go. I mean, so Mike Figueredo blocked him. It looks
Blocked
like.
him.
Really? Well, congratulations. It took long enough.
And just I want to go over this because Jordan said that it was he went on this pontification of a whole tweet, right? And I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm just going to say or read like the first part, and his whole point is that it was dark money. And he said, threat on Nina Turner loss. Unlike the phony leftist tweeter celebrating Turner's loss, I didn't really see that many people celebrating it.
No, I didn't really either.
I was on the ground in Cleveland, Akron, and spoke with campaign folks and witnessed with my own eyes. She didn't lose because she ran as a Democrat. Would have lost by 50 if she ran as a Green Party. She didn't lose because she tried to court conservative Democrats. She did, though, try to court conservative Democrats, so she pushed away some of her base. She didn't lose because of the squad and force a vote. Okay, good. Yeah, she didn't lose because of that. But she lost for multiple reasons. She raised a ton of money. Final weeks before the election, Dem Party super PACs flooded TV here with ads smearing Turner. Okay, that can be true. Just being in a hotel room days before election, I couldn't turn the channel on without seeing anti-Turner ads, not only TV ads, but you couldn't drive around Cleveland without seeing large billboards quoting Nina's bowl of shit, Joe Biden comments. Flooding TV street signs with negative ads is very effective and powerful thing, especially in the local special election in dead of summer. Nina Turner's campaign didn't go negative against Brown until a few weeks before the election. Multiple other reasons on the ground. Okay, so here it is. For people trying to simplify Nina Turner's loss that she ran as a Democrat, please realize those folks have no idea what they're talking about and are just reactionaries doing the damn good job of dividing the left. Turner was up 35 points just 2 to 3 months ago running as a Democrat.
Yeah, but why didn't she get across the finish line, Jordan?
Whether she ran as a Democrat, Green, blah, 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 the same flood money would have come against her, money that worked based on reasons many voters gave for supporting Brown and volunteers knocking doors. This doesn't mean the Dem Party is great, blah, blah, blah. But anyone telling you Turner lost because she ran as a Dem or didn't run scorched earth enough are simply uninformed reactionaries who are more interested in ranting and raving online than actually seizing power. These are mostly the same folks who rightfully complain when the squad doesn't fight, but then when Cori Bush camps out in the Capitol, calls out Biden Dems for days, gets mass media attention, and gets eviction moratorium extended, it's a photo op or not enough. Okay, Nina Turner got crushed by big money, and like most losing campaigns, her campaign had weaknesses, blah, blah, blah. Okay.
Right here is going against Jimmy and Max right here,
of
by
course.
the way.
Of course.
Yeah.
And anybody that does that. So I said, so this
so
is
will Jimmy still have him on? No, sorry.
Hopefully not, Jimmy. Love you, but come on. Okay, I said, okay, so because even those who didn't think she would win or support, tweets. Right? If you just go back to my tweet, I didn't see them celebrating her loss. I just see some of us saying we told you so because we fucking did. He's he's talking about speaking with the campaign. He's ignoring election integrity. Jordan is completely ignoring election integrity here. So his whole analysis is off because while these ads do matter for the general election, general population, which is what I was telling Pasta, there are young voters, independents, and disaffected, including ex-Republicans or those that don't go vote. And the reason I say this is because Bernie Sanders, when he ran a primary, and I've seen other members of Congress like Paula Jean, when she's run before, they can get some crossover votes from Republicans. They can get some crossover votes from independents. They can get people to like register to vote for them that aren't Democrats. They can do that if they talk about the issues. Nina Turner took the whole, we're going to do the whole neo-progressive route. We're going to talk about, Putin and Russia, and I'm going to get cozy with the squad. That definitely lost her some potential, not just her voters, but like independents and more libertarian-minded people that she could have gotten. People always dismiss that. They never talk about that. And again, Nina raised a ton of money, like I said. She had a super PAC, actually, and had regular donations that outraised Chantel Brown. But if you have a problem with this dark money, it's not on the fucking people. It's not on us, the people. It's on the system. And when you don't criticize election integrity, you're not criticizing the system, right? And he said, well, she would have lost by more if she was an independent. He's right. But that's my whole fucking point, is you're trying to win in a rigged game. You're trying to win an election that is not controlled by the people. It's controlled by those in power. And you're trying to win an election. You're not going to fucking win it. And if you do win it, the people who are allowed to win play fucking ball every single time. Just look at what's happening right now. So when you're not talking about election integrity, that which encompasses the unfair shake that these progressives have when running, you're not really serious about actually beating it. And instead, he's harping on YouTubers, which translates to Jimmy Dore and translates to, everybody that was critical of Nina Turner and the squad, because Nina Turner said, I'm not going to, the squad is fine. She was protecting them. She was saying we needed to be kinder and all of these things. Like, if you're not talking about election and fucking integrity, your analysis on what happened is completely just myopic.
Yeah. What about a relationship with Bakari Sellers towards the end too?
Oh,
Did that have done anything to help her situation and stuff?
Yep.
Oh, good.
No, yeah, and just it's a rigged game, guys. It's a rigged game. This is why I'm done with electoral politics at this point, right? And I just reiterated too on the whole Nina Turner thing, Pasta, just echoing what you said. How are progressives just accepting this, right? How are progressives, like at 40%, they were already calling it Pasta. It was even before that. It was like 47% or something when they started calling it. We don't have a democracy in this country, guys. We keep saying it, but I don't think people get it yet because they're still trying to think that they can elect people like Nina Turner without in unfair system. And people like Nina Turner, who should be calling for an audit and trying to challenge things, don't do it because they don't want to be smeared as conspiracy theorists and right wingers now, because that is the whole narrative.
You see what Johnny said before too as well. I like to be interested to see how they count the votes. Robin Gibson talked about that.
Yep.
If you're not asking how the votes are counted, when they're counted, how they're picked up, everything, you're not doing your due diligence. It's too easy to cheat these elections. There's two ways I could have cheated this last election here against Nina Turner. Well, I can get a lot of absentee ballots. Oh, well, how are you going to get those? Well, first of all, now we know that test ballots that are being printed up right down the street on the fly can go in the machine and be counted. That's one way right there. Secondly, if all these ballots get mailed out to all these addresses and they don't get to their point, where do they go to? There's no chain of custody. As a nefarious character, and I have connections to the contractor that does our mail-in ballots, I can then get those ballots from them, have them filled out any way I like to, and have them pushed into the machine and counted. Also, the proprietary software. I can just flick a button from where I'm at, not even in the same room, from a distance, and change the results and have them spit out for the establishment candidate. That is possible, and it's very easily done. If you're not challenging that, how can you be so sure that this election was fair, especially when the Democratic Party said, if we want to, we can go into the back room full of cigar smoke and pick whoever they want? Well, they have all the mechanisms to do that. Why wouldn't you at least push to have those mechanisms removed? And you can easily have them pushed to have them removed. But no, you've been duped into thinking, unless you go this way, that you're being racist or whatever or whatnot, or, you know what I'm saying? The easiest way to cheat an election, and this is from Jimmy Carter, is through mail-in ballots, through absentee ballots. It's just too easy for fraud.
Yeah, and if you're not talking about election integrity, Misty put it out yesterday, you're a hamster in a hamster wheel. You're just going to keep doing the same thing. You're not addressing the elephant in the room, which is election integrity. You have no idea if this election was fair or not. We don't know. No. I can't say it was or it wasn't. I haven't seen, I saw more evidence before in the general and in the primary. I haven't seen much except the fact that she was at such a high lead. We haven't seen anything else. This is a Dem primary. The Democrats fully control this election. So again, we aren't allowed to see anything. So I can't tell you if it was or wasn't.
And let's pay attention to the audit that they're claiming going to have. Watch. Whenever they say of an audit, we'll find out what it is and we'll bring to you exactly what this audit is in the air quotes. And you'll see that it's not a real audit. So just watch. Yeah. We're going to tell you right now, once we find out which ones, and I guarantee you 9 times out of 10, it's a logic and accuracy test. They'll go to the machine that was used to count the ballots. They'll take 300 ballots, they'll put them through, and they'll count them right there and go, look, it's working. Audit.
Yeah.
Did you have anything else on that section right there?
No.
Just so we can point out, we're wrapping up this section right over here. California is having a recall for Gavin Newsom on September 14th. But guess what? I went to the website right over here with the Cal Matters and whatnot, and it says Newsom recall basics, how to vote in California's election. And guess what's going on, fam?
What, fam?
How to vote. Every registered voter will get a ballot in the mail. Every registered voter will get a ballot in the mail. There will also be in-person polling sites that open on September 4th, plus drop-off boxes with the exact number depending where you live. You can check your registration status here, and you can update your registration status here. The deadline to register is August 30th, so this is going to be crazy because, once again, Every registered voter will get a ballot in the mail. So let's say 10 million ballots get mailed out, 8 million get to their point. What happens with the other 2 million ballots, fams? What happens to them? Where do they go? And with, once again, with ballot harvesting as a nefarious character, which is K&H, let's say, they have our contract. They make our ballots in L.A., so, as a nefarious character, and I have ties, I'm like, give me those extra ballots you got. Take those ballots, have those filled in, and I can walk them in and go, here, I was collecting ballots from my aunts and uncles, and there they are, and drop them off. And now Gavin Newsom gets to skate free. And you best believe, with the next topic we're talking about, the Delta's going to come into play, and they're going to close all these polling places and tell people to vote by mail and mail only. You might think that mail-in ballot is better, mail-in ballot voting is better, and they broke the system, making you wait for 4, 5, 6 hours on purpose so that you would conform to mail-in ballots. But it's the area where they can cheat the most. It's easy for the establishment to cheat. That's why Nina Turner's election, you're looking at the cast vote record. That cast vote record is going to bring a breakdown of where the ballots came from, and this many mail-in ballots versus this many in-person ballots. This many here, there. You can find all this stuff out.
If those don't match, that's a red flag.
There you go.
Guys.
Johnny. Anything? Finishing up this section, being a guy who knows election integrity, what do you think this is going to produce?
I kind of want to look into it all, like, because that was weird. What website is that?
Cal Matters.
Cal Matters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like is it who's running the election? Because L.A. runs the county election. Like, is it still like that, or is this like a whole state thing? This is what I'm wondering.
This is a whole state thing.
So this is what I'm. It's probably just the Secretary of State. So then I don't know. I guess they're gonna be having some stuff open on the. Let's see. LAvote.net. They probably put out some press releases about this, actually.
You got some Super Rays.
They probably just read some Super Rays.
I'm going to read some Super Rays while Johnny is getting up some more information, because now we have to go look into this whole situation.
Yeah.
And fam, you know what they're going to do. The same thing they did in the primary. They're going to close places. You can't go out there. You got to vote safely.
Yeah.
Let us collect your ballot for you and take it in, while I take in a ton of other ballots right now that who knows where they came from.
And I just want to say, Whitney Webb had a great tweet, like, we need to stop relying on politicians like they're going to solve all our problems. And that's exactly it. I mean, electoralism isn't it. And I keep saying that, like, yes, I focus on election integrity too, because it's my attempt to show you how this isn't going to work, because we have a rigged system and you're trying to beat the establishment that owns this rigged system at their own game, and you can't. So you have to try something else. You got to play a new game. You got to get up and say, I'm not playing your fucking game anymore, and do something else. That's what I mean by that. Like, and this has to stop. We have no control over our elections. We increasingly have less and less control on our privacy, in our speech, and our what we put in our bodies, apparently.
Yeah.
Anything like that. And then you see how, of course, the mainstream media merchants, smear merchants, like, and then including TYT and all these, do whatever they can to smear people actually telling the truth. And then you see how so many people are so brainwashed. We have to fight so many fights at the same time.
3 quick Super Rays, and Johnny's got something to show us. Taro, man, thank you so much. Whistleblowers will always be at the tip of the iceberg on which indie media and politicians are real. In other words, whoever follows these people, like, you've seen TYT, the way they've bashed and even kind of insinuated chunk that Julian Assange was working for the Russians and shit.
Right.
I mean, when they say this shit, ladies and gentlemen, it should make real progressives, true progressives, laugh in their face and understand that they're just carrying weight and water for their corporate donors like Jeffrey Katzenberger and them. Anna H. Gordonier. Anna H. Gordonier, thank you for the Super 8 contribution. It is always appreciated on the couch, with 144 people watching on Rokfin. We have almost 600 people watching on YouTube. Get on over to the Rokfin. You don't even have to sign up now. You can just click on the link, come over and watch. But if you do sign up, follow us, like us, help us out. We love you. If you got a few extra bucks, you can always help us out for $9.99 a month for our premium content, and it means you get everybody's premium content across the board. But just watching us alone means the world to us, guys, and we are so appreciative of that. We don't kind of threaten and bully people into giving us money. We need this money to go over here, and this is the real stories, and you should be helping us out to do so. No. Thank you for those who can help us out. We love you for it. We do appreciate it. It means the world to us. And if you can't, Just watch us and spread the word. Share our tweets, share our news, share everything. Mary Hale, thank you so much for the super chat contribution. Keep doing the good work. The system is broken. Stay safe and sending love. Got my mid-80s Trump-loving parents watching you. Thank you for that. And thank you for your parents watching us too as well. We encourage them, Mary Hale. We love that. My mom is a diehard Trump supporter and stuff like that. That's why the cancel culture thing really got to me in the beginning. I was like, well, what am I supposed to do? Cancel my mom? I used to say, do I take her out back and put her down like Old Yeller? Boom. Sorry, Mom. No, you have to talk to these people. Nothing's going to be won in a conventional manner where one side convinces the other that they're right and you're wrong. And that's the problem with the progressives. They're still on that march. We're doing the neo-progressives, not the true progressives. They are dead set on making sure that they get their way and that they prove the other side right. It doesn't work like that, ladies and gentlemen. It requires you being an adult and coming to a compromise, saying this is where we reach common ground. And that's the only way we get out of that, and we should be joining these people. We have so much more in common than these assholes up above us, even the squad, and all these other people that are rulers that are controlling us. We have a lot more in common, the people.
When it comes to working class movements, you have to be post-partisan.
Yep. Jig Forever says, and thank you so much, Jig Forever, for the super chat contribution. Super Ray contribution is always appreciated on the couch. Thanks for yanking back the curtain to expose the theater, fam. Props for bringing aboard Franco, too. Well, Franco's our fam. We love him. He's always an open place. I am so proud of that kid for going out there and doing that stuff. You know, we had a conversation before he was running out there, and I told him about I'm like, just be ready, Franco, and don't let down. I'll never forget the moment that I let Debbie Wasserman Schultz off the hook. I'm never going to let that happen again. But we've caught people in other spots. You know what I'm saying? We did that whole Democratic convention. You got to be ready to pressure these people, to put their feet to the fire. What Franco and Max did yesterday and the last couple days is amazing, and it's so helpful because people will see it. And the real people will see right through their bullshit. Yeah. Marlene Smith, as a Hoosier, which is an Indiana native,
I learned,
who was raised right on the border of Ohio and only being an Oregonian for 2 years. Sorry, that word is big. I assure you, most of the Indiana and Ohio progressives still believe that TYT and Rising is progressive, fam. Ugh. There are few combined in those two states that truly get that. Even the Justice Democrats don't really care about the people, and a lot of them, sadly, believe their theatrics. Well, Marlene, thank you for the Super Ray contribution. We'll take that Super Ray contribution. We'll put it to work to expose these people, to show what's going on. Yeah. We'll always get in the streets.
And like Franco said, you know, you kind of got to unbrainwash these people, you know? Like, they've been brainwashed, and so you kind of got to teach them. And, I mean, God, yeah. I mean, TYT is worse than Rising. I mean, TYT is just...
Johnny, what you got?
Yeah, real quick. I just made a tweet. I'm calling on Nina Turner to call for an audit of the special election, demand transparency, and exactly how the votes and ballots were counted. Ask for 100% hand count of the ballots. And I said, please. Yeah. And then she's probably not going to do it. But we're about to go to Rokfin, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Let's go over to Rokfin. As we're going to Rokfin, it says, hey, you guys should have Matt Brainard or Richard Barris on for election integrity issues. They've uncovered tons of issues and are super legit. Yes, I pay attention to Matt Brainard's stuff. Christopher Dobby says, how about George Galloway polling at 6%, then today getting over 20%? He fought, didn't he? My opinion, if you don't fight, you don't deserve to win. Regarding Tina, she reminded me of Corbyn, of just sitting back and taking what was given to you. And then Thomas Kaler says, thank you for the Super Ray contribution. It is always appreciated at the couch. Guys, there's 500 watchers on YouTube, 150 on Rokfin. Let's jump the number. Let's get over 200 today on Rokfin. We're going over for the last subject over on Rokfin only because, unfortunately, YouTube will censor us, take us down. I mean, Jesus, they took down Matt Orfalia just for showing a Senate hearing and what Ron Johnson had to say and what doctors had to say. So, you know we can't talk about this. So please get on over. We're going to start off with de Blasio. You got to see this if you haven't seen this yet, ladies and gentlemen, because full-fledged fascism is knocking on the door.
It's right here.
Get on over to Rokfin.
It's here.
We love you. Thank you so much.
Thank
Leaving
you so much, guys.
in
See
5,
you soon.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Bye, Facebook.
We'll see you on the flip